Hey, you made it. I'm really glad you're here. If you're cozy under your blanket, maybe with one leg sticking out because you like to live a little wild, welcome. Now, before we start, tell me something. Where are you listening from and what time is it? I love reading your answers when I'm up way too late, like a sleepy raccoon hiding in a tree. Tonight, we're going to talk about boring history for sleep, why it sucked to live in a medieval battlefield, and more. Okay, let's settle in and get comfy. Imagine you're lying down, maybe with a soft pillow under your head, and we're going to take a slow, quiet trip back in time. This story is all about a time long ago, way back in the medieval days when life was very different. It's not a fancy story with dragons or kings, but a simple one about regular people living near a battlefield. It's going to be calm and gentle, perfect for helping you relax and maybe even fall asleep. So let's start. Picture a world where there were no cars, no phones, no lights that turn on with a switch. This was a time called the medieval times, hundreds of years ago, when people lived in small houses made of wood and mud. They didn't have soft beds like we do now. They didn't have warm showers or fridges full of food. And if you lived near a battlefield, life was even harder. A battlefield was a place where soldiers fought with swords and arrows, and it was loud, scary, and messy. But even in that tough world, people found ways to rest, to sleep, and to feel safe at night. That's what we're going to talk about, how they lived, how they slept, and why it was okay even when things weren't perfect. Let's start by thinking about where you are right now. Maybe you're in your bedroom all snuggled up. Maybe it's late at night and the world outside is quiet. Or maybe you're somewhere far away listening to this while the stars shine outside. Wherever you are, I'm glad you're here. This story is for you to help you feel cozy and calm. When I stay up late, I like to imagine I'm a raccoon, sneaking around in the dark, looking for something soft to curl up in. That's how I feel when I tell these stories, like I'm curling up with you, sharing something quiet and simple. Now let's go back to those medieval times. Imagine a little village near a big field. That field isn't for playing or growing flowers, it's a battlefield. That means it's a place where people fight, sometimes for days or weeks. There's shouting, horses running, and the clanging of metal swords. It's not a fun place to be near. The people in the village aren't soldiers. They're just regular folks like farmers or bakers trying to live their lives. They have small houses, maybe with a straw roof and a dirt floor. They work hard every day and they get tired, just like you do when you've had a long day. Living near a battlefield wasn't easy. The air might smell like smoke or mud. Sometimes you could hear the fighting from far away like a storm that never stops. The people in the village had to be careful. They had to watch out for stray arrows or soldiers passing through. But even with all that, they still had to eat, work, and sleep. They didn't have a choice, they just kept going. And that's what makes this story special. It's about how people found ways to rest, even when life was hard. Let's imagine one person from that village. His name is Edric. He's not a hero or a king. He's just a regular guy with a scruffy beard and a big sleepy smile. Edric lives in a little hut with his wife, Mildred, and their old dog who likes to nap by the fire. Edric's job is to take care of a small field where he grows food like barley and onions. He's always tired because his work is hard, but he's kind and gentle, and he loves to sit by the fire at night, feeling warm and safe. When Edric wakes up in the morning, the world is quiet for a moment. The battlefield might be loud later, but early in the morning it's just him, the misty air, and the sound of birds. He gets out of bed. Well, it's not really a bed like yours. It's a pile of straw covered with a scratchy blanket. It's not fancy, but it's soft enough to make him feel cozy. He stretches his arms, yawns, and steps outside. The ground is cold, and his boots get muddy right away. He laughs a little because it happens every day. Edric's day is full of small jobs. He walks to his field carrying a hoe, which is a tool for digging. He checks his plants to make sure they're growing. Sometimes he has to pull weeds or chase birds away. Other times, he carries water from a stream to pour on his crops. It's not exciting work, but it's important. If he doesn't do it, there won't be food for his family. Every step he takes makes him a little more tired, and that tiredness feels good, like when you've played outside all day and can't wait to lie down. By the time the sun starts to set, Edric is ready to go home. His arms are heavy and his eyes feel sleepy. He walks back to his hut where Mildred is stirring a pot of pottage. Pottage is like a thick soup made of grains and vegetables. It's not fancy, but it smells warm and good. Edric sits by the fire eating his pottage and feels his whole body relax. The fire crackles and the room gets darker. He knows it's almost time to sleep. Now let's talk about Edric's bed. It's not like the beds we have today with soft mattresses and fluffy pillows. His bed is just a pile of straw on the floor with a rough blanket made of wool. The straw pokes him sometimes, but he's used to it. When he lies down, the straw makes a quiet rustling sound like leaves in the wind. It's not perfect, but it's his, and it feels like home. He pulls the blanket up to his chin and feels warm, even if the night is cold. Next to Edric, Mildred sleeps. She's curled up close, her breathing soft and slow. Their dog is at their feet, snoring a little. Sometimes a chicken wanders into the hut and sleeps nearby, clucking softly. It's a crowded little space, but that makes it feel cozy. Everyone is together, safe and warm. Even if the battlefield is close inside the hut, it feels like a different world. At night, the sounds outside are gentle. The wind blows through the straw roof, making a soft whooshing noise. A goat bleats now and then like it's saying good night. Far away, the battlefield might make a faint sound, but it's so far that it's just a hum, like a lullaby. Edric listens to these sounds as he drifts off, letting them carry him to sleep. Sometimes Edric wakes up in the middle of the night. That's normal in medieval times. People didn't always sleep all at once. They sleep for a few hours, wake up, and then sleep again. When Edric wakes, he doesn't get up or worry. He just lies there, looking at the dark ceiling, listening to the quiet. It's peaceful, like the world is taking a break with him. Soon, he falls back asleep, soft and easy. The night sky outside is full of stars, like tiny lights in a big, dark blanket. Edric doesn't see them from inside his hut, but he knows they're there. The darkness feels like a friend wrapping around the village, keeping everyone safe. It's not scary, it's calm, like a big hug from the world. Before bed, Edric and Mildred eat their pottage. It's warm and fills their bellies. The steam from the bowl makes their faces feel cozy, and each bite makes them sleepier. They don't have dessert or snacks like we do, but that simple meal is enough. It's like a signal to their bodies that it's time to rest. When it's time to sleep, Mildred piles ashes on the fire to keep it safe overnight. The fire gets dim and the room feels quieter. It's like the hut is saying, "Okay, time to sleep now." Edric checks the door to make sure it's closed, folds his cloak, and lies down. These little habits happen every night and they make him feel ready for bed. As he lies there, Edric might whisper something to Mildred like, "See you in the morning." It's a small thing, but it feels special. It's like saying, "We're safe and tomorrow will be okay." Then he closes his eyes and the world fades away. In those days, people thought dreams were important. If Edric dreams of a quiet field with no fighting, he might think it's a sign that good days are coming. Or maybe he dreams of his dog chasing a bird and he wakes up smiling. Dreams were like little stories their minds told, and they helped them feel calm. Some nights weren't perfect. Maybe the wind was too loud or Edric worried about soldiers coming too close. But even on those nights, sleep came eventually. He'd curl up closer to Mildred, listen to her breathing, and let the tiredness take over. Sleep was always there, waiting for him. Life near a battlefield wasn't easy, but it didn't have to be perfect. Edric didn't need a fancy bed or a quiet world to sleep. He just needed his hut, his family, and the night. That was enough. And that's what's so nice about this story. Things didn't have to be perfect to be okay. Edric's life was full of work, but it also had love. He had Mildred, his dog, and even his silly chickens. They needed him, and he needed them. That made sleep feel warm, like he was part of something bigger. Even on hard days, when the battlefield was loud or the crops didn't grow, he knew he was important to someone. Sometimes, funny things happened at night. One time, a goat got into the hut and started chewing Edric's blanket. He woke up, saw the goat, and laughed so hard he woke Mildred. They pushed the goat out, still giggling, and went back to sleep. Those little moments made the nights feel special, even if they were a bit silly. Every night was the same in a good way. Eat pottage, fix the fire, check the door, sleep. That sameness was like a song, telling Edric's body it was time to rest. It didn't matter if the day was good or bad, the night was always there, ready to help him relax. A Compared to us, Edric's sleep was simple. We have bright screens and noisy clocks that keep us awake. Edric didn't. His world was the sun, the work, and the dark. When the sun went down, his body knew it was time to sleep. He didn't worry about emails or homework, he just rested. The darkness was like a friend to Edric. It wasn't something to fight, it was something to sink into. It was soft and quiet, like a big blanket over the world. It made him feel safe, like nothing could bother him. Edric didn't have to earn sleep. He didn't have to win a battle or do everything perfectly. He just let himself rest like it was the most natural thing in the world. And it was. Sleep was something everyone could have, no matter who they were. Even on the worst days, when the battlefield was loud or the rain leaked through the roof, Edric slept. He knew that rest was important, that his body needed it. He didn't feel bad for resting, he just did it because he mattered. And now, as we think about Edric in his little hut, the fire fatting, the night quiet, let's rest too. There's no big ending here, just stillness. Let your eyes close, let the dark hold you and drift. Good night. Imagine a world so different from ours, a world full of mud and smoke. Back then, a long, long time ago, in what we call the medieval times, life wasn't like it is now. There were no cars zooming down the road, no bright screens glowing in the dark, no fridges full of snacks. Instead, the air was filled with the smell of wet dirt and sometimes a smoky haze. If you lived near a battlefield, you could hear the faraway sounds of swords clanging and people shouting. It was a noisy, scary place, but the people who lived there still found ways to rest, to close their eyes, and to sleep. Let's take a slow, quiet walk into that world and see what it was like to live there. This time was hundreds of years ago, way before your grandparents or even their grandparents were born. The medieval world was rough, especially if you lived near a battlefield. A battlefield wasn't a fun park or a quiet field with flowers. It was a place where soldiers fought with sharp swords, heavy shields, and pointy arrows. The ground was often torn up, with patches of grass smashed flat by horses' hooves or burned by fire. The air smelled like damp earth, like when it rains and the ground gets all soft and squishy. Sometimes there was smoke, too, from fires the soldiers lit or from burning villages nearby. It wasn't a happy place to be. If you were a kid in that village, you wouldn't have a school bus or a playground. You'd live in a small house made of wood and mud, with a roof made of straw or sticks. These houses weren't big or fancy. They were small, with dirt floors that got muddy when it rained. The walls might have cracks where the wind sneaked in, making the house chilly. There were no soft couches or warm heaters. Instead, people sat on hard wooden stools or benches, and they warmed up by sitting close to a fire in the middle of the room. That fire was super important. It cooked their food, kept them warm, and gave a little light when the sun went down. Life near a battlefield was tough because danger was always close. Soldiers might ride through the village, their horses kicking up dust and mud. You'd hear them shouting or see them carrying big, scary weapons. Sometimes an arrow might fly too far and land in your field, or a horse might trample your crops. It was hard to feel safe when fighting was so close. The grown-ups in the village had to be careful all the time. They'd listen for the sound of horns or drums, which meant a battle was starting. They'd keep their kids close and make sure the animals, like goats or chickens, were safe in their pens. Even though it was scary, people still lived their lives. They didn't have a choice. They had to grow food, take care of their animals, and keep their little houses standing. Most people in the village were farmers, not soldiers. They grew things like barley, which is a kind of grain, or vegetables like onions and cabbages. They worked hard every day, using tools like hoes to dig in the dirt or buckets to carry water from a stream. The work was slow and tiring, but it was how they got food to eat. If they didn't work, they wouldn't have anything to put in their bellies. The village was small, maybe just a few houses all close together. Everyone knew each other like neighbors in a tiny town. There was no grocery store or mall. If you needed something, you had to make it yourself or trade with someone else. Maybe you'd give your neighbor some eggs from your chickens and they'd give you a loaf of bread. People helped each other because life was hard and they all needed to stick together. If a soldier came through and took some of their food, they'd share what was left so no one went hungry. The days were long and the work never really stopped. In the morning, people woke up early when the sky was just turning pink. They'd get out of bed, put on their rough clothes, and start their chores. There was always something to do, feeding the animals, fixing a fence, or carrying water. Kids helped too. If you were a kid back then, you might have to chase the chickens into their coop or carry sticks for the fire. It wasn't easy, but it was just how life was. Everyone worked together to keep the village going, even with the battlefield so close. The battlefield made everything harder. The noise was loud sometimes, like a big storm that never went away. You might hear horses galloping or men yelling. The ground shook if a lot of soldiers were running or riding nearby. Sometimes the fighting got so close that the villagers had to hide in their houses or run to a safer spot. They grabbed their kids and animals and hoped the soldiers didn't come too close. It was scary, and it made everyone tired, not just their bodies, but their hearts too. Living with fear all the time is exhausting. But here's the amazing thing. Even in that hard, scary world, people found ways to rest. They didn't have fluffy pillows or warm blankets like we do, but they still slept. They'd lie down at night, close their eyes, and let the world fade away. Their beds weren't soft mattresses. They were usually just piles of straw or grass covered with a scratchy blanket made of wool. The straw might poke them and the blanket might itch, but it was enough. They were so tired from working all day that sleep came anyway, like a big, cozy hug from the night. The night was a special time in the village. When the sun went down, the world got quieter. The battlefield didn't always stop. Sometimes fighting went on in the dark, but it was usually calmer. The villagers would sit by their fires, eating a simple meal like a bowl of pottage. Pottage was like a thick soup made of grains and vegetables. It wasn't fancy, but it was warm and filling. After eating, they'd pile ashes on the fire to keep it safe overnight, and then they'd go to bed. The darkness wrapped around them like a big blanket over the whole village. Sleep was important because it helped them keep going. Even if the day was scary or hard, sleep gave them a break. They didn't have clocks or alarms to wake them up. They just listened to their bodies and the world around them. When the sun went down, it was like a signal to rest. When the sun came up, it was time to start again. Life was simple in that way, no rushing, no worrying about being late for something. They just lived with the rhythm of the day and night. The people in the village didn't have a lot of stuff, but they had each other. Families slept close together, sometimes all in one room. Moms, dads, kids, and even grandparents might share the same space. The dog might sleep at their feet, and a chicken might sneak in and curl up in a corner. It was crowded, but it felt safe. Being close to the people you loved made the night less scary, even if the battlefield was nearby. You could hear your mom breathing or your dog snoring, and it made you feel like everything was okay. The village wasn't just about work and fear. There were happy moments, too. People told stories by the fire like we're doing now. They laughed about silly things like when a goat got loose and ate someone's hat. They sang soft songs or shared a little bread with their neighbors. Even in a tough place, they found ways to smile. Those moments helped them rest, too, because they made their hearts feel lighter. Living near a battlefield meant you had to be strong, but not like a superhero. It was a quiet kind of strong where you just kept going day after day. The villagers didn't have fancy houses or lots of food, but they had their fields, their animals, and their families. They worked hard to keep those things safe, even when the world felt dangerous. And when they went to bed at night, they didn't worry about the next day. They just let sleep come like it was the most natural thing in the world. The medieval world was so different from ours. They didn't have lights to turn on or machines to make work easier. Everything they did with their hands. They didn't have stores to buy new clothes or toys. They made what they needed or went without. If their shoes got holes, they patched them with bits of cloth. If their house leaked, they stuffed straw in the cracks. Life was simple, but it was hard too, especially with the battlefield so close. The battlefield wasn't always loud. Some days it was quiet, and the villagers could pretend it wasn't there. They'd walk to their fields, tend their crops, and talk to their neighbors. They'd watch the clouds move across the sky or listen to the birds singing. Those quiet moments were like little gifts, reminding them that the world wasn't all bad. Even in a scary place, there was beauty if you looked for it. The people in the village didn't have much control over the battlefield. They couldn't make the soldiers go away or stop the fighting, but they could control their own little world, their hut, their field, their family. They focused on what they could do, like planting seeds or feeding their chickens. Those small things gave them a reason to keep going, even when life felt heavy. At night, when the work was done, the village felt different. The darkness made everything softer, like a big, quiet hug. The sounds of the battlefield faded, and the village had its own sounds: crickets chirping, the wind rustling the straw roofs, a dog barking softly. These sounds were like a lullaby, helping everyone relax. The villagers didn't fight the darkness. They let it wrap around them like a cozy blanket, and they slept. Sleep wasn't always perfect. Sometimes the straw bed was too lumpy or the wind was too cold. Sometimes they worried about the soldiers or their crops, but they didn't let those worries stop them from resting. They knew their bodies needed sleep just like they needed food or water. So they lay down, closed their eyes, and let the night take care of them. Living near a battlefield taught the villagers something important. Life didn't have to be perfect to be okay. They didn't need a big, fancy house or a quiet world to sleep. They just needed a place to lie down, a warm meal, and the people they loved nearby. That was enough to make the night feel safe, even when the day was hard. As we think about this village, let's imagine what it was like to be there. Picture the little houses, the muddy paths, the fields of barley swaying in the wind. Hear the faraway clanging of swords, but also the soft chirping of crickets. Feel the cool night air and the warmth of a small fire. This was their world, and even though it was tough, they found ways to live in it. They worked, they laughed, they rested. And that's what we're going to keep exploring, how these people lived day by day, and how they found peace in a world that wasn't always peaceful. Let's keep going nice and slow into their world. There's more to see, more to hear, more to feel. For now, just rest in this moment, imagining that little village, quiet under the stars. The battlefield is far away, and the night is here, soft and calm. Let's slip into their lives, step by step, and see how they found their way to sleep. Let's meet Edric. He's a scruffy peasant with a lopsided grin, like he's always about to tell you a silly joke. His heart is warm, like the fire in a cozy kitchen. Edric isn't a knight in shiny armor or a fancy lord with a big castle. He's just a regular man who lives in a tiny village near a battlefield. He takes care of a small patch of land where he grows food, and he's always tired, yawning big yawns, dreaming of a soft spot to rest his head at night. Let's get to know him nice and slow so you can picture him clearly in your mind. Edric lives in a little hut made of wood and mud. It's not a big house like you might see today, with glass windows and soft carpets. His hut has a dirt floor that gets muddy when it rains, and a roof made of straw that sometimes lets a little water drip through. The walls are rough, with cracks where the wind sneaks in, making it chilly. But Edric doesn't mind too much. He's used to it, and he knows how to make his little home feel cozy. He piles extra straw in the cracks to keep the wind out, and he keeps a small fire burning to stay warm. Edric's clothes are simple, not fancy at all. He wears a tunic, which is like a long shirt made of rough cloth that scratches a little. It's brown, faded from being washed in the stream so many times. His pants are loose and patched where they've torn. His boots are old with holes in the soles, but he stuffs them with straw to keep his feet warm. His hair is messy, sticking out in all directions, and he has a scruffy beard that makes him look a bit like a friendly bear. When he smiles, one side of his mouth goes up higher than the other, giving him that lopsided grin that makes everyone feel happy. Edric lives with his wife Mildred, who's kind and gentle, just like him. They have an old dog named Brownie who follows Edric everywhere, wagging his tail even when he's napping. Brownie's fur is shaggy, and he loves to sleep by the fire, snoring so loud it makes Edric laugh. They also have a few chickens that cluck around the hut, and sometimes a goat named Nibbles who likes to chew on everything, even Edric's boots. This little family makes Edric's life feel full, even if he doesn't have a lot of things. Edric's job is to take care of his small field. It's not a big farm, just a patch of dirt where he grows barley, onions, and cabbages. He works hard every day, digging in the soil with a hoe, pulling weeds, and carrying water from a nearby stream. The field is close to the battlefield, so sometimes he hears the loud sounds of fighting, swords clanging, horses running, and men shouting. It's scary, but Edric tries to focus on his work. He knows his plants need him, and his family needs the food he grows. That keeps him going, even when he's worried. Every morning, Edric wakes up early, when the sky is still gray and the air is cold. He yawns, stretches his arms, and rubs his eyes. His body feels heavy from all the work he did the day before, but he gets up anyway. He pulls on his tunic and boots, pats Brownie on the head, and steps outside. The ground is often wet with dew, and his boots make a squishy sound in the mud. He smiles his lopsided grin, because even though life is hard, he's happy to be alive. Edric starts his day by checking his field. He walks slowly, looking at each plant to make sure it's growing strong. If a weed is poking up, he pulls it out with his hands. If the dirt looks dry, he grabs a bucket and walks to the stream to get water. The bucket is heavy and his arms get tired, but he hums a little tune to make the work feel lighter. Sometimes, Brownie trots along beside him, sniffing the ground or chasing a butterfly. Edric laughs when Brownie trips over his own paws because it's such a silly sight. The battlefield nearby makes Edric's life harder. Sometimes soldiers ride through the village, their horses kicking up dust and mud. They might take some of Edric's food or scare his chickens. Once a stray arrow landed in his field, sticking right in the dirt next to a cabbage. Edric pulled it out, shook his head, and kept working. He doesn't like the fighting, but he can't stop it. All he can do is take care of his little patch of land and hope the soldiers leave him alone. Even though life is tough, Edric finds ways to be happy. He loves sitting by the fire at night with Mildred, eating a bowl of warm pottage. Pottage is like a thick soup made of barley and vegetables. It's not fancy, but it fills his belly and makes him feel cozy. He and Mildred talk about their day, laughing about Nibbles the goat or how Brownie tried to chase a bird and fell in the mud. These little moments make Edric's heart feel warm, like he's wrapped in a big hug. Edric is always tired. His work is hard, digging, carrying, planting, and weeding all day long. His back aches and his hands are rough from holding tools. But that tiredness feels good in a way. It makes him ready to sleep at night, like his body knows it's time to rest. He yawns a lot, big yawns that make his eyes water. Sometimes he yawns so big that Mildred teases him, saying he looks like a sleepy frog. Edric just grins and yawns again. Edric dreams of a soft place to rest his head. His bed isn't like the ones we have today with fluffy pillows and soft blankets. It's just a pile of straw on the floor, covered with a scratchy wool blanket. The straw pokes him sometimes, but he doesn't mind. When he lies down, the straw makes a quiet rustling sound like leaves in the wind. It's not perfect, but it's his, and it feels like home. He pulls the blanket up to his chin and feels warm, even if the night is cold. Edric's hut is small, but it's full of love. He sleeps close to Mildred, their shoulders touching. Brownie curls up at their feet, snoring softly. Sometimes a chicken sneaks into the hut and sleeps in a corner, clucking quietly. It's crowded, but that makes it feel safe. Edric likes hearing Mildred's breathing and Brownie's snores. It reminds him that he's not alone, even when the battlefield is loud outside. Edric has a kind heart. He helps his neighbors when they need it, like when their fence breaks or their goat runs away. He shares his food if someone is hungry, even if he doesn't have much. Once he gave half his barley to a neighbor whose crops were ruined by soldiers. He didn't have to do it, but he did, because that's who he is. His kindness makes the village a better place, even with the battlefield so close. Sometimes Edric gets scared. The battlefield is dangerous, and he worries about his family. What if soldiers come to the village? What if they take his food or hurt his animals? These thoughts make his heart beat fast, but he tries not to let them take over. He takes a deep breath, looks at his field, and keeps working. He knows worrying won't help, but working will. And at night when he lies down, those worries feel smaller because sleep is waiting for him. Edric loves the simple things in life. He loves the smell of the earth after rain, like a big, wet hug from the world. He loves the sound of the wind blowing through the straw roof like a soft song. He loves watching the stars at night, twinkling like tiny candles in the sky. These things make him feel calm, even when the battlefield is noisy. They remind him that the world is still beautiful, even if it's hard. Every day, Edric does the same things. He wakes up, works in his field, eats pottage, and goes to bed. It's not exciting, but it's his life, and he likes it. The sameness makes him feel safe, like he knows what to expect. Even when the battlefield is loud, his little routine, dig, plant, eat, sleep, keeps him going. It's like a quiet song that helps him stay calm. Edric's lopsided grin is famous in the village. Even when he's tired or worried, he smiles, and it makes everyone feel better. The kids in the village love him because he tells silly stories about Nibbles the goat or pretends to be a sleepy bear. He makes them laugh, and that makes the days feel lighter. Even the grown-ups smile when they see Edric because his grin is like a little bit of sunshine. Edric doesn't have a lot of things, but he doesn't need them. He has Mildred, Brownie, and his little field. He has his neighbors and his cozy hut. He has his work, even if it's hard, and he has his sleep, even if his bed is lumpy. These things are enough to make him happy, even in a world with a battlefield nearby. At night, when Edric lies down, he feels the tiredness in his body like a heavy blanket. He listens to the sounds of the village, the wind, the crickets, Brownie's snores. He thinks about his day, the work he did, the smiles he shared. He doesn't worry about the battlefield or what tomorrow might bring. He just closes his eyes and lets sleep come, soft and gentle, like a friend who's always there. Edric's life isn't easy, but it's full of small joys. He finds happiness in the little things, like a warm bowl of pottage or a quiet moment with Mildred. He doesn't need to be a knight or a lord to feel important. He's just Edric, a peasant with a big heart and a sleepy yawn, living his life one day at a time. As we think about Edric, let's picture him in his hut, curled up on his straw bed. The fire is low, the night is quiet, and he's safe with his family. His lopsided grin is gone for now because he's dreaming maybe of a field full of flowers or a day with no fighting. His world is simple, but it's his and it's enough. Let's keep following Edric nice and slow to see what his days and nights are like in this tough, beautiful world. Edric wakes up to a soft, faraway sound of horns. They're coming from the battlefield, but they're quiet today, like a whisper from far away. It's early morning and the air inside his little hut is cold. When he breathes out, he can see his breath like a tiny cloud in front of his face. He lies still for a moment, curled up on his straw bed, listening to the world waking up. His body feels heavy, and his bones creak a little like an old wooden chair. He stretches his arms slowly, reaching up toward the ceiling of his hut, then lets them fall back down. The battlefield's noise is soft today, and Edric is glad for that. It means he can start his day without feeling scared. He pulls on his rough tunic, which feels scratchy against his skin, pats his old dog Brownie on the head, and steps outside into the misty morning. His boot sinks into the mud with a squishy sound, and he chuckles, because it happens every day. Another day begins, soft and slow, and Edric is ready for it. The morning is chilly, and the air feels wet like a cool cloth on your face. The sky is gray with a soft pink glow where the sun is starting to peek out. Edric's hut is small, made of wood and mud, with a straw roof that rustles when the wind blows. Inside, it's dark, except for a tiny bit of light sneaking through the cracks in the walls. Edric's bed is just a pile of straw on the dirt floor, covered with a wool blanket that's a little itchy. He doesn't mind, though. It's warm enough, and after a long day of work, it feels cozy. Next to him, his wife Mildred is still sleeping, her breathing soft and steady. Brownie, their shaggy dog, is curled up at the foot of the bed, snoring quietly. A chicken clucks in the corner, probably dreaming of corn. Edric smiles his lopsided grin, happy to be surrounded by his little family, even if their home is simple. He sits up slowly, careful not to wake Mildred. His body feels stiff from yesterday's work, digging in the field, carrying water, and chasing Nibbles the goat when she ran off again. His arms are heavy and his back aches a little, but that's normal. Edric is used to being tired. He yawns a big yawn, so wide it makes his eyes water. He rubs his face with his hands, feeling the scratchy stubble of his beard. His hair is messy, sticking out like a bird's nest, but he doesn't care. There's no one to impress in the village, and he likes being himself. Edric pulls on his tunic, which is brown and worn with patches where it's torn. It's not soft like the clothes we wear today, but it keeps him warm. He slips on his boots, which are old and full of holes. He stuffs a little straw inside them to keep his feet from getting too cold. The boots are heavy, but they're good for walking in the muddy fields. He takes a deep breath, smelling the cool, damp air of the hut. It smells like earth and straw, with a faint whiff of smoke from last night's fire. It's a smell that makes Edric feel at home, even if the battlefield is nearby. He steps over to Brownie, who's still snoring, his tail twitching in his sleep. Edric bends down and pats him gently, whispering, "Good boy, Brownie." Brownie opens one eye, wags his tail once, and goes back to sleep. Edric chuckles softly because Brownie is the laziest dog in the village, but he loves him anyway. He tiptoes past Mildred, not wanting to wake her, and pushes open the wooden door of the hut. It creaks a little, like it's saying good morning in its own way. Outside, the world is quiet and misty. The village is small, just a few huts huddled together, surrounded by fields and trees. The air is thick with fog, making everything look soft and blurry like a dream. Edric's boots sink into the mud as he steps out, and he laughs quietly to himself. The mud is always there, no matter how many times he tries to clean his boots. It's just part of life in the village, like the sound of the wind or the clucking of chickens. He doesn't mind too much. The mud means the ground is soft, good for growing his crops. Edric looks around, taking in the morning. The battlefield is far enough away that he can't see it, but he knows it's there. Today the horns are soft and there's no loud shouting or clanging of swords. That makes him feel lighter, like a weight has been lifted off his shoulders. He takes another deep breath, smelling the wet grass and the faint smoke from someone else's fire. The village is starting to wake up. He hears a rooster crowing, a goat bleating, and the soft sound of someone chopping wood nearby. It's a peaceful start to the day, and Edric is grateful for that. He walks slowly toward his field, his boots making squishy noises in the mud. His field isn't big, just a small patch of dirt where he grows barley, onions, and cabbages. It's hard work to keep it going, especially with the battlefield so close. Sometimes horses trample his plants or soldiers take his food, but Edric does his best to protect his crops because they're what keep his family fed. He carries a hoe, a long stick with a flat blade at the end for digging in the dirt. It's heavy, but he's strong from years of working in the fields. As he walks, Edric looks at the sky. The gray clouds are starting to break apart, letting a little sunlight through. The pink glow is brighter now and the world feels a bit warmer. He sees a bird fly overhead, chirping happily, and it makes him smile. Even with the battlefield nearby, there are still birds and flowers and soft mornings like this. Those things make Edric feel hopeful, like the world isn't all bad. When he gets to his field, he stops to look at his plants. The barley is growing tall, its green stalks swaying in the breeze. The onions are poking out of the dirt, their green tops looking fresh and strong. The cabbages are round and healthy, though one has a hole where a bug nibbled it. Edric kneels down, his knees sinking into the mud, and pulls a few weeds that are trying to steal space from his plants. He moves slowly, his hands gentle, because he knows his plants need care, just like his family does. Air is still cold, and Edric's fingers feel stiff as he works. He blows on them to warm them up, his breath making little clouds again. He likes being out here in the quiet morning, even if it's chilly. It's a time when the world feels calm before the day gets busy. He hears a soft bark and looks up to see Brownie trotting toward him, his tail wagging. Brownie must have woken up and decided to follow. Edric laughs and scratches Brownie's ears, saying, "You lazy dog, you're supposed to be sleeping." Brownie just wags his tail harder and flops down in the grass, ready for a nap. Edric keeps working, moving from one row of plants to another. He checks each one, making sure they have enough water and no bugs are eating them. If the dirt looks dry, he'll walk to the stream later to fetch a bucket of water. The stream isn't far, but carrying the bucket back is hard work. It makes his arms ache, but it's worth it to keep his plants growing. He hums a little tune as he works, a simple song he learned when he was a kid. It's not a fancy song, just a few notes that go up and down, but it makes him feel happy. The battlefield is quiet today, but Edric knows it won't always be. Some days the horns are loud and he can hear shouting and the sound of horses running. Those days are scary because he worries about his family and his field, but today it's just a soft hum in the distance, like the buzzing of a faraway bee. He tries not to think about it too much. Instead, he focuses on his plants, the cool air, and the squishy mud under his boots. Those things are real and they're his. As the sun rises higher, the mist starts to fade and the village comes to life. Edric sees his neighbor, Old Tom, walking to his own field carrying a basket of tools. Tom waves and Edric waves back, his lopsided grin lighting up his face. "Morning, Tom," he calls. Tom nods and says, "Good day for planting, eh?" Edric agrees, happy to share a moment with his friend. The village is small and everyone knows each other. They help each other out, sharing food or fixing things when they break. It makes Edric feel like he's part of something bigger, even if life is hard. Edric's stomach grumbles and he realizes he hasn't eaten yet. He'll go back to the hut soon, where Mildred will have some bread or pottage ready. Pottage is their favorite breakfast, a warm, thick soup made of barley and vegetables. It's not fancy, but it fills him up and makes him feel ready for the day. He thinks about the warm bowl waiting for him, and it makes him work a little faster, eager to get back to the hut. The morning moves slowly, and Edric likes it that way. There's no rush, no clock telling him to hurry. He works at his own pace, checking his plants, pulling weeds, and patting the dirt down with his hands. Brownie stays nearby, napping in the sun or sniffing around for something interesting. Every now and then, Edric stops to stretch his back or wipe the sweat from his forehead. The air is warming up now, and the sun feels good on his face. Edric thinks about his family as he works. He loves Mildred's soft voice and the way she laughs when he tells a silly story. He loves Brownie's lazy ways and how he always knows when it's time for a nap. He even loves Nibbles the goat, even though she's always getting into trouble. These thoughts make him smile and they make the work feel easier. He knows he's working for them to keep them fed and safe, and that gives him strength. The battlefield is always there in the back of Edric's mind. He knows it's dangerous, but he tries not to let it scare him. He can't control the soldiers or the fighting, but he can control his field. He can plant his seeds, water his crops, and keep his family close. Those things are enough to keep him going day after day. And when the day is done, he knows he'll have his straw bed, his warm blanket, and the soft sounds of the night to help him rest. As the morning goes on, Edric keeps working, moving slowly and carefully. He likes the quiet of the early hours when the world feels new and fresh. He likes the feel of the dirt under his fingers and the sound of the birds singing. Even with the battlefield nearby, these moments make him feel peaceful. He knows the day will be long and his body will be tired, but that's okay. Tiredness means he's worked hard, and it means he'll sleep well tonight. The sun is higher now, and the village is fully awake. Edric hears kids laughing as they chase each other, and he sees Mildred step out of the hut, waving to him. He waves back, his lopsided grin bigger than ever. The morning is soft and slow, just the way he likes it. He'll keep working in his field, taking care of his plants, and then he'll go home to eat and rest. Another day has begun, and Edric is ready for it, one small step at a time. Edric walks slowly to his field, his boots squishing in the muddy path. He holds his hoe, a long stick with a flat blade at the end, ready to dig in the dirt. The field has patches of burned grass from a fight that happened yesterday when soldiers ran through and left the ground messy. Edric looks at his crops, checks for weeds, and carries water from the stream nearby. Each job is small and simple, done over and over, like a quiet song that makes you sleepy. His shoulders hurt from all the work, but the steady rhythm of his tasks feels good, like a gentle push toward resting in the evening. Let's follow Edric through his day, one tiny task at a time, and see how he keeps going in his tough but cozy world. The sun is up now, shining softly through the morning mist. Edric's field isn't big, just a small patch of dirt where he grows barley, onions, and cabbages. It's not far from his hut, but the walk feels long because the ground is soft and sticky. His boots make a squelch with every step, and he smiles his lopsided grin because the mud is just part of his day. He doesn't mind too much. It's messy, but it means the soil is good for his plants. He swings his hoe over his shoulder, humming a little tune, something simple that his mom taught him when he was a kid. The tune is soft, like a lullaby, and it makes the work feel easier. When Edric gets to his field, he stops and looks around. The battlefield is close, and yesterday some soldiers fought nearby. They left the ground torn up, with patches of grass burned black and some spots trampled flat. Edric sighs, but he doesn't get mad. He knows he can't stop the soldiers, but he can fix his field. He starts with one small job, turning the soil. He swings his hoe down, digging into the dirt, flipping it over to make it soft and ready for planting. The hoe is heavy and his arms get tired, but he keeps going, one swing at a time. Each scoop of dirt feels like a little win, like he's making his field better, bit by bit. The barley plants are growing tall, their green stalks swaying in the breeze. Edric walks between the rows, looking closely at each one. He checks for weeds, those sneaky plants that try to steal water and space from his crops. If he sees a weed, he bends down, his knees sinking into the mud, and pulls it out with his hands. The weed comes up with a soft pop, and he tosses it to the side. It's a small job, but it's important. If he lets the weeds grow, they'll hurt his plants, and he needs those plants to feed his family. He moves slowly, checking one plant, then another, making sure they're all okay. Edric's dog Brownie follows him to the field, trotting along with his shaggy tail wagging. Brownie doesn't help much. He mostly sniffs the ground or chases a butterfly, but Edric likes having him there. Sometimes Brownie flops down in the grass and takes a nap, snoring so loud that Edric laughs. "You're no help, Brownie," he says, but he scratches the dog's ears anyway. Brownie wags his tail and goes back to sleep, happy to be near Edric. Having Brownie around makes the field feel less lonely, even if the battlefield's noises are in the distance. After checking the barley, Edric moves to the onions. Their green tops stick out of the dirt, looking fresh and strong. He kneels down again, his hands dirty from the soil, and checks for bugs or dry spots. If the dirt looks too dry, he knows he'll need to get water soon. He stands up, stretches his back, and feels a little ache in his shoulders. The work is hard and his body gets tired, but he doesn't stop. He likes the feeling of doing one thing at a time, each job leading to the next, like steps in a quiet dance. Edric decides it's time to get water. The stream isn't far, just a short walk through the village. He grabs his wooden bucket, which is old and a little cracked, but it still holds water. He walks down the path, his boots squishing in the mud again. The stream is clear and cold, bubbling over smooth rocks. Edric kneels by the water, fills his bucket, and watches the ripples spread out. The sound of the stream is soft, like a whisper, and it makes him feel calm. He dips his hands in the cold water, splashing a little on his face to cool off. It feels good, like a quick break before the next job. Carrying the bucket back to the field is hard. The water is heavy and the bucket sloshes, spilling a little on his boots. His arms ache and his shoulders feel sore, but he keeps going. He thinks about his family, Mildred waiting at home, Brownie napping in the field, and even Nibbles the goat, who's probably chewing on something she shouldn't. These thoughts make him smile, and the heavy bucket feels a little lighter. When he gets back to the field, he pours the water carefully over his plants, making sure each one gets a drink. The dirt drinks it up, turning dark and soft, and Edric feels proud. It's just one bucket, but it's enough for now. Edric goes back to digging with his hoe, turning more soil. The burned patches from the soldiers are still there, but he works around them. He scoops the dirt, flips it, and smooths it with his hands. Each swing of the hoe is the same over and over, like a song that never changes. The rhythm is soothing, like when you rock back and forth in a chair or swing on a swing. It makes Edric's mind feel quiet, even if his body is tired. He doesn't think about the battlefield or the soldiers. He just thinks about the dirt, the plants, and the next small job. Sometimes Edric finds a rock in the soil. He digs it out with his hoe, pulls it up, and tosses it to the side. The rocks are small, but they can hurt his plants if he leaves them. He likes finding them because it's like a little surprise in the dirt. Once he found a shiny stone that sparkled in the sun. He kept it in his pocket for a while, showing it to Mildred when he got home. She laughed and said it looked like a tiny star. Edric still has that stone tucked away in the hut, a little reminder of a good day. As he works, Edric hears the battlefield in the distance. Today it's quiet, just a soft hum of voices or the faint clop of horses. He's glad it's not loud. Some days the horns blare and the shouting makes his heart beat fast, but today he can focus on his field. He keeps digging, checking plants, and pulling weeds, one job at a time. Each task is small, but together they make his field strong. It's like building something piece by piece, and Edric likes that feeling. The sun climbs higher and the air gets warmer. Edric's tunic sticks to his back and he wipes sweat from his forehead. His shoulders ache more now and his hands feel rough from gripping the hoe. But he doesn't mind. The ache means he's working hard, and that's what keeps his family fed. He stops for a moment, leaning on his hoe, and looks at the sky. A few clouds float by, fluffy and white, like sheep in the air. He smiles, thinking about how Nibbles the goat would probably try to eat a cloud if she could. Edric's neighbor, old Tom, walks by with his own hoe. "Good day, Edric," Tom calls, waving. Edric waves back, his lopsided grin shining. "Good day for plants," he says. Tom nods and keeps walking, his own field waiting for him. Edric likes seeing his neighbors. They all work hard just like him, and they help each other when things get tough. If Edric's fence breaks, Tom might come over with a hammer. If Tom's chickens get loose, Edric will help catch them. It's how the village stays strong, even with the battlefield nearby. Edric goes back to his work, moving to the cabbages now. They're round and green, growing big in the dirt. He checks each one, looking for bugs or holes. If he finds a bug, he flicks it away gently, not wanting to hurt it but needing to protect his plants. He pats the dirt around the cabbages, making sure it's nice and soft. The dirt feels cool under his fingers, and he likes the way it crumbles. It's like the earth is talking to him, saying, "Keep going, Edric, you're doing good." By now, Edric's stomach is grumbling. He's been working for hours and he's hungry. He thinks about the pottage waiting at home, Mildred's thick soup made of barley and onions. The thought of a warm bowl makes him work a little faster, eager to finish his morning tasks. He decides to get one more bucket of water before he takes a break. He walks back to the stream, fills his bucket, and carries it carefully to the field. The water sloshes, but he's steady, pouring it over the onions this time. The plants look happy, their green tops shining in the sun. Edric's shoulders are really sore now, and his back feels tight. Each swing of the hoe makes him wince a little, but he keeps going. He knows that every job he does helps his family. The barley will make bread, the onions will flavor the pottage, and the cabbages will fill their bellies. He thinks about Mildred's smile when she sees the healthy plants, and it gives him strength. He hums his tune again, soft and slow, letting the rhythm carry him through the work. The battlefield stays quiet, and Edric is thankful. He can hear birds chirping now, and a soft breeze rustles the barley. It's a good day, a peaceful day, and he wants to enjoy it. He keeps working, one task at a time, digging, weeding, watering, checking. Each job is small, but it adds up like drops of water filling a bucket. Edric likes that about his work. It's not big or fancy, but it's important, and it makes him feel proud. As the sun gets higher, Edric decides it's time for a break. He leans his hoe against a tree and sits down in the grass, stretching his legs out. Brownie wakes up from his nap and trots over, flopping down next to Edric with a happy sigh. Edric scratches Brownie's ears, feeling the warmth of the sun on his face. His shoulders still ache, but sitting here with the soft grass under him and the quiet field around him feels good. It's like the world is giving him a little rest, a moment to catch his breath. Edric looks at his field, seeing all the work he's done. The rows are neat, the plants are growing, and the burned patches don't look so bad anymore. He knows there's more to do, more digging, more watering, more weeding, but he's okay with that. Each task is like a step toward evening, when he can go home, eat with Mildred, and lie down on his straw bed. The thought of that cozy rest makes his heart feel light, even if his body is tired. The rhythm of Edric's work is like a lullaby, soft and steady. Dig, weed, water, check. Over and over, one tiny task at a time. It's not exciting, but it's comforting, like rocking in a chair or listening to a quiet song. It soothes him, making the day feel calm, even with the battlefield nearby. He knows that by the time the sun sets, he'll be ready to rest, his body tired but his mind peaceful. Edric stands up, brushes the grass off his tunic, and grabs his hoe again. There's still work to do, but he's not in a hurry. He moves slowly, enjoying the feel of the dirt, the sound of the birds, and the warmth of the sun. He'll keep going, one task at a time, until the day is done. And when evening comes, he'll walk back to his hut, eat his pottage, and let the night take him to sleep. For now, he's happy in his field, doing his small jobs one by one with a lopsided grin and a heart full of hope. By afternoon, Edric's arms feel heavy, like they're made of stone. His eyes are droopy, like he could fall asleep standing up. The work he does to survive, chopping wood, carrying water, and sometimes dodging stray arrows from the nearby battlefield, makes his whole body tired in a natural way. He lets out a big, cozy sigh, a sound that feels warm and soft, like a hug from inside. He knows that tonight, sleep will come easy, like an old friend who always shows up just when you need them. Let's follow Edric through the afternoon, see how his body gets tired, and feel how that tiredness leads him toward a peaceful rest. The sun is high in the sky now, warm and bright, making Edric's tunic stick to his back with sweat. He's been working all morning in his field, digging with his hoe, pulling weeds, and watering his plants. His small patch of land grows barley, onions, and cabbages, and it takes a lot of effort to keep it healthy. The battlefield nearby makes things harder. Soldiers sometimes trample his crops or leave the ground burned, but Edric keeps going. His arms ache from swinging the hoe, and his legs feel wobbly from walking back and forth to the stream with a heavy bucket of water. But he doesn't stop, because his family needs the food he grows. Edric's field is just one part of his day. After working in the dirt, he has other jobs to do. One big job is chopping wood. The village needs wood for fires to cook food and stay warm, especially when the nights get cold. Edric walks to a pile of logs near his hut, picking up his axe. The axe is heavy, with a wooden handle worn smooth from years of use. He swings it down, splitting a log with a loud crack. Each swing makes his shoulders burn, like they're shouting at him to take a break. But Edric keeps going, one chop at a time, stacking the wood neatly by the hut. The pile grows, and he feels proud, even if his arms are screaming. Chopping wood is hard, but it's not the only thing that makes Edric tired. The battlefield nearby is always a worry. Sometimes arrows fly too far and land in the village. Edric has to be careful, watching the sky and listening for the whistle of an arrow. Once he was weeding his field when an arrow landed in the dirt just a few steps away. His heart jumped, but he stayed calm, pulled the arrow out, and kept working. Dodging danger like that makes his body tense, and that tension adds to his tiredness. It's like carrying an extra weight in his chest all day. Edric's body feels the work in every part. His hands are rough and sore from gripping the hoe and axe. His back aches from bending over the plants or carrying wood. His legs are tired from walking to the stream and back over and over with a bucket that sloshes water onto his boots. Even his eyes feel heavy, like they're ready to close and take a nap right there in the field. But Edric doesn't mind the tiredness. It's a good kind of tired, the kind that comes from doing important work. It's like when you play outside all day and your body feels ready to melt into your bed. As the afternoon goes on, Edric moves to another job, fixing a fence. The fence around his field keeps animals like Nibbles the goat from eating his crops, but Nibbles is sneaky and sometimes pushes through, breaking the wooden sticks. Edric grabs some rope and a few new sticks from his wood pile. He kneels by the fence, tying the sticks together to make it strong again. His fingers fumble a little because they're sore, but he keeps going, pulling the rope tight. The sun is hot on his neck and sweat drips into his eyes, but he wipes it away and keeps working. Fixing the fence is slow, but it's another small job that makes his field safer. Edric's dog, Brownie, is nearby, lying in the grass with his tongue out, panting in the heat. Brownie doesn't help with the fence, but he keeps Edric company, wagging his tail every time Edric looks at him. Edric smiles his lopsided grin and says, "You're no help, Brownie, but I love you anyway." Brownie barks softly like he's agreeing and then goes back to napping. Having Brownie around makes the work feel less lonely, even when Edric's body is so tired it wants to give up. The battlefield is quiet today, which is a relief. Some days the horns are loud and Edric can hear shouting or the clop of horses' hooves. Those sounds make his heart beat fast and he has to stop working to check if the soldiers are coming closer. But today it's just a soft hum in the distance, like a faraway bee buzzing. Edric is glad for the quiet. It lets him focus on his jobs, chopping wood, fixing the fence, checking his plants. Each task is small, but they add up, like pieces of a puzzle coming together. Edric's stomach grumbles, and he realizes it's been a while since he ate. He had some bread and pottage in the morning, but all this work has made him hungry again. He thinks about the warm bowl of pottage waiting at home made by his wife, Mildred. Pottage is their favorite meal, a thick soup with barley and vegetables that fills your belly and makes you feel cozy. The thought of it gives Edric a little burst of energy, like a spark in his tired body. He decides to finish one more job before heading back to the hut for a break. He goes back to the field to check his cabbages. They're round and green, growing strong in the dirt, but some have holes where bugs have nibbled. Edric kneels down, his knees sinking into the mud, and picks off the bugs carefully. He doesn't want to hurt them, but he needs to protect his plants. He flicks the bugs away, watching them scurry off into the grass. Then he pats the dirt around the cabbages, making sure it's soft and moist. His hands are dirty now, covered in mud, but he doesn't mind. The dirt feels cool and soft, like the earth is thanking him for his work. Edric stands up, his back creaking like an old door. He stretches his arms high, trying to loosen the tightness in his shoulders. His eyes are so droopy now, like they're begging for a nap. He yawns a big yawn, so wide it makes his jaw ache. The tiredness is deep in his bones, but it's a good kind of tired. It's the kind that comes from working hard, from doing things that matter. Edric knows that every swing of his axe, every weed he pulls, every bucket of water he carries helps his family stay safe and fed. That makes the tiredness feel worth it. The sun is starting to move lower in the sky and the air feels a little cooler. Edric's tunic is damp with sweat and his boots are caked with mud. He looks at his field, seeing the neat rows of plants and the fixed fence. He feels proud even if his body is aching. He thinks about how his barley will turn into bread, how his onions will flavor the pottage, how his cabbages will fill their plates. These thoughts make his heart feel light, even if his arms feel heavy. Edric decides it's time for a break. He leans his axe against a tree and sits down in the grass, letting his body rest. Brownie trots over and flops down next to him, his shaggy fur warm against Edric's leg. Edric scratches Brownie's ears, feeling the softness of his fur. The grass is cool under him and the breeze feels nice on his sweaty face. He closes his eyes for a moment, just listening to the sounds around him. The rustle of leaves, the chirp of birds, the soft hum of the battlefield far away. It's peaceful and it makes his tiredness feel like a cozy blanket wrapping around him. Edric's mind wanders as he sits there. He thinks about Mildred, waiting at home with a warm smile. He thinks about their little hut with its straw bed and crackling fire. He thinks about how good it will feel to lie down tonight, to let his heavy arms and droopy eyes rest. Sleep is like an old friend to Edric, always there when he needs it. He knows that no matter how hard the day is, sleep will come soft and gentle, ready to take him away from the aches and worries. The work of survival is tough. Chopping wood makes Edric's shoulders burn, carrying water makes his arms shake, dodging arrows makes his heart race. But all these things make his body ready for rest. The tiredness isn't something to fight, it's something to welcome. It's like his body is saying, "You worked hard today, Edric, now it's time to rest." And Edric listens. He knows that sleep will come tonight as easy as breathing because his body is ready for it. As Edric sits in the grass, he lets out another big sigh, deep and cozy. It's a sound that comes from deep inside, like his whole body is saying thank you for the work. He looks at the sky where the sun is starting to turn the clouds pink and orange. The day is moving toward evening and Edric feels it in his bones. His eyes are heavier now and his yawns are bigger. He's not worried though. He knows that when he gets home, he'll eat his pottage, sit by the fire, and let the night take him to sleep. Edric stands up slowly, his legs wobbly but strong enough to keep going. He grabs his axe and heads back to the hut, Brownie trotting behind him. The village is quiet now, with most people finishing their own work. Edric sees his neighbor, Old Tom, carrying a basket of vegetables, and they wave to each other. The path to the hut is muddy, as always, but Edric doesn't mind. Each step brings him closer to home, to Mildrith, to rest. The tiredness in Edric's body is like a heavy blanket, but it's a good kind of heavy. It's the kind that makes you want to curl up and close your eyes. He thinks about his straw bed, lumpy but soft, and how it will feel to lie down tonight. He thinks about Mildrith's warm hand next to his and Brownie's snores filling the hut. These thoughts make him smile his lopsided grin, even as his shoulders ache and his eyes droop. Edric's day isn't over yet. He'll eat, maybe fix one more thing, and check on his animals before the sun sets. But he knows that each job, each ache, is leading him towards sleep. The work of survival is hard, but it's also what makes rest so sweet. His body is tired, but his heart is full, knowing he's doing what he needs to for his family. And tonight, when he lies down, sleep will come like an old friend, ready to hold him close and let him rest. Edric's bed is just a pile of straw on the floor, lumpy but soft, tucked in a corner of his small hut. The wool blanket he pulls over himself scratches a little, but it keeps him warm and it smells like the earth and a bit of smoke from the fire. It's not like the soft, fluffy beds we have today with big pillows and smooth sheets. But for Edric, it works just fine. After a long day of hard work, that simple bed feels like the coziest place in the world. Let's picture Edric's little hut, his bed, and how he settles down for the night, feeling safe and ready to rest. Edric's hut is small, made of wood and mud, with a roof of straw that rustles when the wind blows. The walls have cracks where the cold air sneaks in, but Edric stuffs them with extra straw to keep the chill out. The floor is just dirt, packed down hard from years of walking on it. Sometimes it gets muddy when rain drips through the roof, but Edric doesn't mind too much. It's his home and he loves it, even if it's not fancy. In one corner of the hut near the fire is where Edric's bed sits. It's not a bed like we know, with a frame and springs. It's just a big pile of straw spread out on the floor, covered with a rough wool blanket. The straw in Edric's bed is dry and crackly, like the kind you see in a barn. He gathers it from the fields after the harvest, piling it up to make a soft spot to sleep. It's not smooth or even, and sometimes a stick or two pokes through, but it's soft enough to sink into. When Edric lies down, the straw makes a quiet rustling sound like leaves falling from a tree. It's a sound he knows well, and it makes him feel calm, like the world is whispering, time to rest. The straw smells fresh, like the fields he works in, with a hint of grass and earth. It's not a bad smell, it's clean and natural, and it reminds Edric of home. The wool blanket is heavy and a little scratchy, like a sweater that's too rough. It's made from the wool of sheep in the village, spun into thick threads and woven together. The blanket is old, with patches where it's worn thin, but it's warm, and that's what matters. When Edric pulls it up to his chin, it feels like a big hug, keeping the cold night air away. The blanket smells like the fire that burns in the hut, a smoky, cozy smell that mixes with the straw's grassy scent. Sometimes it smells a bit like Brownie, their shaggy dog, who likes to nap on it during the day. Edric doesn't mind, it's all part of his home. The corner where the bed sits is close to the fire, which is just a small pit in the middle of the hut. The fire is low at night, covered with ashes to keep it safe, but it still gives off a little warmth. The glow from the embers lights up the corner, making the straw bed look golden and soft. Edric likes this spot because it feels safe, tucked away from the door and the cold outside. The hut is small, so the bed is close to where Mildrith sleeps, too. They share the straw pile, lying side by side, their shoulders touching. Brownie curls up at their feet, his warm fur adding to the coziness. Sometimes a chicken sneaks into the hut and sleeps nearby, clucking softly in the dark. When Edric comes home from the field, his body is tired from chopping wood, digging dirt, and carrying water. His arms feel heavy and his eyes are droopy, like they're ready to close all by themselves. He eats a bowl of warm pottage with Mildred, sitting by the fire. The pottage fills his belly and the fire warms his hands. After eating, he knows it's time to rest. He walks to the corner of the hut, his boots leaving muddy prints on the dirt floor. He takes off his boots, setting them by the door, and shakes out his tunic to get rid of some dust. Then he heads to his bed, ready to sink into the straw. Lying down on the straw is like falling into a soft pile of leaves. It's not smooth like a mattress, and sometimes a piece of straw pokes Edric's back or leg. He shifts a little, finding a spot where the straw feels just right. The lumps don't bother him much, he's used to them. He pulls the wool blanket over himself, feeling its weight settle on his body. The scratchy feeling against his skin is familiar, and he doesn't mind it. The blanket is warm, and that's what counts. He tucks it under his chin, making sure no cold air can sneak in. His body feels heavy, like it's sinking deeper into the straw, and he lets out a big, cozy sigh. Mildred lies down next to him, her breathing soft and slow. She pulls the blanket over herself too, and their arms touch, warm and comforting. Brownie shuffles over, finding a spot at the foot of the bed, his furry body pressed against Edric's feet. The dog's snores start almost right away, a low, rumbling sound that makes Edric smile. The hut is quiet now, except for the soft crackle of the fire and the faint rustle of the straw roof in the wind. Outside, the battlefield is far away, its noises soft and distant, like a hum you can barely hear. Inside the hut, it's just Edric, Mildred, Brownie, and the cozy corner where they sleep. The bed isn't perfect, but it doesn't need to be. Edric doesn't dream of fancy beds with soft pillows or smooth sheets. He's happy with his straw and his blanket because they do what they're supposed to do. They keep him warm and let him rest. After a long day of work, his body is so tired that the lumps in the straw don't matter. He sinks into the bed, feeling the straw shift under him, and it's like the earth itself is holding him up. The blanket's scratchy warmth wraps him tight, and he feels safe, like nothing can bother him in this little corner of the world. Edric's hut is small, but it's full of little things that make it feel like home. There's a wooden stool by the fire where Mildred sits to stir the pottage. There's a basket in another corner, filled with extra straw for patching the walls or adding to the bed. There's a clay pot by the door where Edric keeps his tools dry. These things aren't fancy, but they're part of Edric's life, and they make the hut feel cozy. The bed is the coziest part of all because it's where he rests, where he dreams, where he feels safe with his family. Sometimes Edric wakes up in the middle of the night because that's how people slept back then. They didn't always sleep all at once. They'd sleep for a few hours, wake up, and then sleep again. When Edric wakes, he lies still, listening to the quiet. The straw rustles if he moves, and the blanket feels warm against his skin. He hears Mildred breathing next to him, slow and steady, and Brownie snores at his feet. The fire is just embers now, glowing faintly, casting soft shadows on the walls. Outside, the wind hums and maybe a goat bleats in the distance. Edric doesn't get up or worry. He just lies there, letting the cozy feeling of the bed pull him back to sleep. The bed smells like home to Edric. The straw has that fresh, grassy smell like the fields he works in. The blanket smells like smoke from the fire and a little like wool, warm and earthy. Sometimes it smells like Mildred's hands, which always have a hint of the herbs she uses in the pottage. These smells mix together, making the bed feel like the safest place in the world. Edric breathes them in, and his body relaxes, his eyes getting heavier with every breath. The straw bed isn't always comfortable. Sometimes a sharp piece of straw pokes Edric's side, and he has to wiggle to find a better spot. Sometimes the blanket slips off and he wakes up chilly, pulling it back over himself. But these little things don't bother him much. He's used to them, and they're just part of sleeping in his hut. He knows that no bed is perfect, and his is good enough. It's soft enough to rest on, warm enough to keep the cold away, and close enough to his family to make him feel safe. Edric's bed is in the corner, but it's not just for him and Mildred. Brownie sleeps there too, and sometimes a chicken or even Nibbles the goat sneaks in. The hut is small, so everyone is close together, and that's how Edric likes it. He can hear Mildred's soft breathing, feel Brownie's warm fur, and know that his family is right there with him. It's crowded, but it's cozy, like being wrapped in a big, warm hug. The battlefield outside feels far away when Edric is in his bed, surrounded by the people and animals he loves. The bed is where Edric's day ends, but it's also where it begins. When he wakes up in the morning, he feels the straw under him, hears it rustle as he moves. He stretches his arms, yawns, and pulls the blanket off, ready to start the day. The bed is there waiting for him at night, ready to welcome him back after his work is done. It's a simple thing, but it's important, like a friend who's always there when you need them. Edric doesn't think about how his bed could be better. He doesn't wish for a bigger hut or a softer mattress. He's happy with what he has because it works. The straw is soft enough to sleep on, the blanket is warm enough to keep him cozy, and the corner of the hut is safe enough to rest in. That's all he needs. His body is tired from working in the field, chopping wood and carrying water, and the bed is there to catch him, to let him sink into its lumps and warmth. As Edric lies in his bed, he feels the tiredness in his body like a heavy, soft weight. His arms ache from swinging the hoe, his legs are sore from walking, and his eyes are droopy from the long day. The straw shifts under him, making that soft, rustling sound, and the blanket keeps him warm. He listens to the quiet of the hut, the fire's faint crackle, Mildred's breathing, Brownie's snores. The world outside is dark, and the battlefield is silent tonight. Edric closes his eyes, letting the cozy feeling of his bed wrap around him, and he knows sleep is coming, soft and gentle, like a friend who knows just what he needs. Edric lies down on his lumpy straw bed, pulling the scratchy wool blanket over him. His wife Mildred curls up right beside him, her breathing slow and steady like a soft song. Their shaggy dog, Brownie, snoozes at their feet, his warm fur brushing against Edric's toes. Sometimes, a stray chicken sneaks into the hut and clucks softly in the dark, nestling in a corner. The little hut is crowded, with everyone so close together, but that closeness makes it feel warm and safe, like a big hug from the world. Even with the battlefield nearby, the night feels cozy because Edric is surrounded by his family. Let's picture this snug little scene and see how everyone sleeping together makes Edric's nights feel so special. The hut is small, made of wood and mud, with a straw roof that rustles when the wind blows. It's not a big house like we have today with separate rooms and soft beds. It's just one room with a dirt floor and a fire pit in the middle. The fire is low at night, covered with ashes to keep it safe, but it still gives off a soft glow and a little warmth. In one corner, Edric's bed sits, a pile of straw covered with a wool blanket. It's not just for him, though. Mildred sleeps there too, and Brownie curls up at their feet. Sometimes, a chicken or even Nibbles the goat sneaks in, making the little space feel full of life. Mildred is Edric's wife, and she's the kindest person he knows. She has a gentle smile and eyes that sparkle when she laughs. Her hair is long and tied back with a piece of cloth, and her hands are strong from stirring pottage and weaving baskets. At night, when Edric lies down, Mildred slips in beside him, her shoulder touching his. Her breathing is slow and even, like the sound of waves on a quiet lake. Edric loves that sound. It's like a lullaby, helping him feel calm and safe. When he hears her breathe, he knows she's there, right next to him, and it makes the night less scary. Mildred doesn't take up much space, but her warmth fills the bed. She pulls the blanket over herself, tucking it under her chin, and snuggles close to Edric. Their arms touch, and sometimes their hands find each other in the dark, holding on gently. It's not a big bed, so they're close, but Edric likes it that way. Being close to Mildred makes him feel like everything is okay, even if the battlefield is just outside the village. Her warmth is like a soft blanket of its own, wrapping around him, making the straw bed feel cozier than it really is. Brownie, their shaggy dog, is always part of the bedtime scene. He's old and a bit lazy, with fur that's messy and full of burrs from running through the fields. During the day, Brownie follows Edric to the field, napping in the grass or chasing butterflies. At night, he picks a spot at the foot of the bed, curling up in a furry ball. His body is warm against Edric's feet like a living pillow. Brownie snores, a soft, rumbly sound that fills the hut. Sometimes he twitches in his sleep, dreaming of chasing rabbits, and his tail thumps against the straw. Edric smiles when he hears Brownie's snores because it's a sound that means home. Sometimes a chicken sneaks into the hut at night. Edric and Mildred have a few chickens that live outside in a little coop, but one of them, a fluffy white one named Clucky, likes to wander. When it gets dark, Clucky sometimes pushes through the door and finds a corner to sleep in. She clucks softly like she's talking in her sleep, and her feathers rustle as she settles down. Edric doesn't mind Clucky being there. Her quiet clucks are part of the night's sounds, like the wind or the fire's crackle. It's funny to think of a chicken sleeping in the hut, but it makes the space feel full of life, like everyone is part of the same cozy family. Once in a while, Nibbles the goat finds her way inside, too. Nibbles is a troublemaker, always chewing on things she shouldn't, like Edric's boots or the straw roof. If the door isn't latched tight, Nibbles will nudge it open and stand in the middle of the hut, looking around like she owns the place. Edric and Mildred usually shoo her out, laughing as they do, but sometimes they're too tired, and Nibbles curls up near the fire. Her soft bleats mix with Brownie's snores and Clucky's clucks, making the hut feel like a little world of its own, full of warm, sleepy sounds. The hut is crowded with everyone so close, but that's what makes it special. Edric doesn't have a big bed or a big house, but he has Mildred, Brownie, and sometimes Clucky or Nibbles. Their warmth and sounds fill the small space, pushing away the cold and the dark. The battlefield outside feels far away when Edric is in his bed, surrounded by his family. The horns and shouts of soldiers can't reach him here. Instead, he hears Mildred's breathing, Brownie's snores, and the soft rustle of the straw under them. It's like the hut is a safe little bubble, keeping the scary world outside. Edric loves how close everyone is. In the village, families sleep together because the huts are small and it's safer to stay near each other. There are no separate rooms or big beds for just one person. Everyone shares the space, and that makes it feel warm and cozy. Edric can feel Mildred's arm against his, hear her soft breaths, and know she's right there. He can feel Brownie's furry warmth at his feet, and sometimes he hears Clucky's quiet clucks in the corner. These things make him feel like he's not alone, like he's part of something bigger than himself. The straw bed is lumpy, and the blanket scratches, but with Mildred and Brownie so close, it feels just right. Edric's body is tired from working all day, digging in the field, chopping wood, carrying water. His arms ache and his eyes are heavy, but lying next to Mildred makes him forget the aches. Her warmth is like a soft hug, and her breathing is like a song that says, "Everything is okay." Brownie's snores add to the song, and even Clucky's clucks make it better. The hut is full of these little sounds, and they wrap around Edric like a blanket, helping him relax. Sometimes, Edric wakes up in the middle of the night. That's normal in his time. People often sleep in two parts, waking up for a bit before going back to sleep. When he wakes, he lies still, listening to the hut. Mildred is right there, her breathing steady, her arm touching his. Brownie is still snoring, his tail may be twitching in a dream. Clucky might cluck once or twice, settling deeper into her corner. The fire is just embers, glowing softly, and the wind hums outside. Edric doesn't get up or worry. He just listens to his family, feels their warmth, and lets the cozy feeling pull him back to sleep. The closeness of everyone makes the night feel safe. The battlefield is scary, with its loud horns and clanging swords, but inside the hut it's different. Edric knows that Mildred is there, Brownie is there, and even Clucky is there, all sharing the same small space. It's like they're all holding each other up, keeping the fear away. The hut is small, but it's strong because of the love inside it. Edric feels that love every night when he lies down and hears his family around him. The bed itself isn't much, just straw and a scratchy blanket, but the people and animals in it make it special. Edric doesn't need a fancy bed or a big house. He has Mildred's warmth, Brownie's snores, and the soft clucks of Clucky. These things make the bed feel like the best place in the world. When he pulls the blanket up, he feels the weight of it, heavy and warm like the weight of his family's love. The straw rustles under him, and he sinks into it, letting his tired body rest. Edric's hut is full of little sounds that make the night cozy. The fire crackles softly, even when it's low. The straw roof rustles when the wind blows, like a whisper from the world outside. Mildred's breathing is slow and steady, like a heartbeat. Brownie's snores are rumbly, like a faraway storm that's not scary. Clucky's clucks are soft, like she's talking in her sleep. These sounds mix together, making a quiet song that helps Edric relax. He listens to them as he lies in bed, feeling the warmth of Mildred and Brownie, and he knows he's safe. The battlefield outside can't touch Edric when he's in his bed. The soldiers and their fighting feel far away, like a bad dream that fades when you wake up. Inside the hut, it's just Edric and his family, all close together, sharing the same small space. The straw bed is lumpy, the blanket is scratchy, but with Mildred's breathing, Brownie's snores, and Clucky's clucks, it's perfect. Edric doesn't need anything more. He has his family, and that makes the night feel like a warm, safe hug from the world. As Edric lies there, his eyes get heavy and his body feels soft, like it's melting into the straw. He listens to Mildred's breathing, feels Brownie's warmth, and smiles at the thought of Clucky in the corner. The hut is crowded, but that's what makes it cozy. Everyone is together, sharing the warmth, sharing the night. Edric knows that no matter what happens outside, he has this little space, this little bed, and his little family. That's enough to make him feel safe, enough to let him drift into sleep, wrapped in the love and warmth of those sleeping next to him. As Edric lies on his lumpy straw bed, the world outside his small hut grows quiet. The wind hums softly through the straw roof like a gentle song. A goat bleats lazily somewhere in the village, its sound low and sleepy. The faraway noise of the battlefield, with its loud horns and clanging swords, fades away to nothing. Inside the hut, the wooden beams creak softly like a gentle lullaby that rocks Edric into dreams. These sounds of the night wrap around him, making the dark feel cozy and safe, like a warm blanket. Let's listen to the night with Edric and hear how these simple sounds help him drift off to sleep. The hut is small, made of wood and mud, with a roof of dry straw that rustles in the wind. It's not a fancy house, but it's home, and at night it feels extra special. Edric is tucked under his scratchy wool blanket, his wife Mildred breathing softly beside him. Their dog Brownie snores at their feet, his furry body warm against Edric's toes. Sometimes a chicken named Clucky clucks quietly in a corner, having sneaked inside to sleep. The fire in the middle of the hut is low, covered with ashes, giving off a faint glow and a soft crackle. These sounds inside the hut mix with the sounds outside, creating a peaceful song that makes Edric's eyes heavy and his heart calm. Outside, the wind is the first sound Edric hears. It moves through the straw roof, making a low, humming noise like someone blowing gently across the top of a bottle. The straw rustles and sways, each piece rubbing against the others, creating a soft, whispery sound. It's not loud or scary, it's gentle, like the wind is singing a quiet song just for the village. Edric loves this sound. It's like the world is breathing with him, slow and steady, telling him it's time to rest. The wind hums through the cracks in the walls, too, sneaking in little puffs of cool air that mix with the warmth of the hut. It's a sound that makes Edric feel like the night is alive, but in a kind way, not a frightening one. Somewhere in the village, a goat bleats. It's probably Nibbles, Edric's naughty goat who likes to chew on everything. The bleat is soft and lazy, like Nibbles is half asleep, muttering to herself as she curls up in her pen. The sound comes and goes, not too loud, just enough to remind Edric that the village is there, full of animals and people resting together. The goat's bleat is like a little hello from the night, a reminder that life goes on, even when the sun is gone. Edric smiles when he hears it, picturing Nibbles with her head tucked under her leg, dreaming of eating his boots. The battlefield, which is close to the village, is noisy during the day. There are horns that blare, horses that clop, and soldiers who shout and clang their swords. But at night, those sounds fade away. The battlefield grows quiet, and the clamor turns to silence, like a storm that's moved far away. Sometimes Edric can hear a faint hum, like the last echo of a soldier's voice or the soft thud of a horse's hoof, but it's so far off it's barely there. This quiet makes the night feel peaceful, like the world is taking a deep breath and letting go of the day's worries. Edric is glad for the silence. It means the fighting is far away, at least for now, and he can rest without fear. Inside the hut, the wooden beams creak softly. The hut is old, and the wood shifts a little at night, making small sounds like a chair settling when you sit down. The creaks are gentle, not loud, and they come and go like a slow heartbeat. Edric thinks of them as the hut's way of talking, saying, "I'm here keeping you safe." The creaks mix with the rustle of the straw roof and the hum of the wind, creating a soft, steady rhythm that feels like a lullaby. It's a sound that rocks Edric, making his body relax and his eyes close, ready for sleep. The fire in the hut adds its own sound to the night. It's not a big fire anymore, just a pile of glowing embers covered with ashes to keep it safe until morning. The embers crackle quietly like tiny pops or whispers as they burn down. Sometimes a small spark flicks up, making a soft snap like a twig breaking. The sound is warm and cozy, reminding Edric of the fire's heat, even when it's low. It's like the fire is singing its own little song, a soft one that says, "Rest now, everything's okay." Edric listens to the crackle and it makes him feel safe, like the hut is wrapping him in warmth. Maldrith's breathing is another sound in the hut. She lies next to Edric, her shoulder touching his, her breath coming in slow, steady puffs. It's a soft sound, like a gentle breeze in and out, in and out. Edric loves this sound. It's like a promise that Maldrith is there, safe and close, sharing the night with him. Her breathing is steady, like a clock that never stops, and it helps Edric relax. He matches his own breathing to her sometimes, taking slow, deep breaths that make his body feel heavy and calm. It's like Maldrith's breath is part of the night's lullaby, pulling him closer to sleep. Brownie, their dog, adds his own sound to the mix. He's curled up at the foot of the bed, his shaggy fur warm against Edric's feet. Brownie snores, a low, rumbly sound that shakes his whole body. Sometimes the snores are loud, like a little growl, and sometimes they're soft, like a purr. Edric smiles when he hears Brownie snoring because it's such a funny, cozy sound. It's like Brownie is dreaming of chasing rabbits or eating a big bowl of pottage, and his snores are his way of telling the world about it. The sound mixes with the wind and the creaks, making the hut feel alive with little noises that feel like home. Clucky, the chicken who sometimes sneaks into the hut, adds her own soft sounds. She's in a corner, nestled in some straw, her feathers rustling as she shifts in her sleep. Every now and then she lets out a quiet cluck like she's talking in her dreams. The clucks are gentle, not loud like during the day when she's chasing bugs. They're like little whispers, saying, "I'm here, I'm cozy." Edric doesn't mind Clucky being in the hut. Her clucks are part of the night's song, blending with the wind, the creaks, and Brownie's snores. It's like the whole hut is singing together, a soft, sleepy tune. Sometimes other sounds drift in from the village. A dog barks far away, maybe at a fox or just because it's excited. A cow moos softly, settling down for the night. The wind carries these sounds, mixing them with the hum through the straw roof. They're not loud or scary, they're just part of the village at night, like a big family all resting together. Edric listens to these sounds and feels like he's not alone. The village is there with its goats, chickens, and people, all sharing the dark, all finding their way to sleep. The night is full of these little sounds, and they all work together to make Edric feel calm. The wind hums, the goat bleats, the beams creak, the fire crackles, Maldrith breathes, Brownie snores, and Clucky clucks. Each sound is small, but together they're like a lullaby, a song that says, "Close your eyes, let go, and rest." Edric lies in his straw bed, the blanket pulled up to his chin, and listens. His body is tired from working in the field, chopping wood and carrying water. His arms ache and his eyes are heavy, but the sounds of the night make him feel safe and cozy. The battlefield silence is a gift tonight. Edric knows that some nights the horns are loud or the shouts of soldiers echo through the dark. Those nights are harder because the noise makes his heart beat fast and he worries about his family. But tonight the battlefield is quiet and Edric is grateful. The silence lets the other sounds, the wind, the creaks, the snores, take over, wrapping around him like a soft hug. It's like the night is saying, "Don't worry, Edric, just sleep." As Edric listens, his eyes get heavier and his breathing slows. The wind's hum is like a mother's voice singing softly. The creaks of the hut are like a gentle rock back and forth, back and forth. Brownie snores at a funny, rumbly beat and Maldrith's breathing keeps it all steady. Clucky's clucks are like little notes sprinkled in, making the song complete. Edric feels his body sink deeper into the straw, the lumps not bothering him at all. The blanket is warm, the hut is safe, and the sounds of the night are his lullaby. Sometimes Edric wakes up in the middle of the night because that's how people slept back then, in two parts with a little break in between. When he wakes, he lies still, listening to the sounds again. The wind is still humming, maybe a little softer now. The goat might bleat once, far away. The hut creaks and the fire pops. Maldrith is still breathing beside him and Brownie's snores are steady as ever. Clucky might cluck or she might be quiet, dreaming in her corner. Edric doesn't get up or worry. He just listens, letting the sounds pull him back to sleep, like a gentle hand guiding him. The sounds of the night are like friends to Edric. They're always there every night, making the dark feel less scary. The wind, the goat, the creaks, the fire, Maldrith, Brownie, Clucky, they all work together to make the hut feel cozy and safe. Edric doesn't need a fancy bed or a quiet world. He has these sounds and they're enough. They tell him the village is resting, his family is close, and the night is kind. As he listens, his eyes close and he drifts into dreams, rocked by the gentle lullaby of the night. Edric wakes up in the dark just for a moment. It's normal in his time, sleep comes in waves, like water lapping at the shore. He lies still on his lumpy straw bed, listening to the quiet night with no rush or worry in his heart. The world around his small hut is calm, and soon he drifts back to sleep, soft as a feather falling gently to the ground. Let's join Edric in this peaceful midnight break, feeling the stillness of the night and hearing the gentle sounds that help him rest again. Edric's hut is small, made of wood and mud, with a straw roof that rustles softly when the wind blows. It's dark inside except for the faint glow of the fire's embers, covered with ashes to keep them safe until morning. The air is cool, but Edric is warm under his scratchy wool blanket, tucked into the corner where his straw bed sits. His wife, Mildred, is curled up beside him, her breathing slow and steady, like a quiet song. Their dog, Brownie, snoozes at their feet, his furry body warm against Edric's toes, snoring a soft, rumbly sound. Sometimes, a chicken named Clucky is in the corner, clucking quietly in her sleep. The hut feels cozy, even in the middle of the night, because everyone is close together, sharing the warmth and the dark. When Edric wakes, his eyes open slowly, and he stares into the darkness. It's not a scary dark, it's soft, like a big blanket covering the world. His body feels heavy from the day's work, digging in the field, chopping wood, carrying water. His arms ache and his legs are tired, but he's not worried. Waking up in the middle of the night is normal for him and everyone in the village. Back then, people didn't sleep all at once like we try to do now. They slept in two parts with a little break in between, like a pause in a story. They called it the midnight break, and it was a quiet time to rest, think, or just listen to the night. Edric doesn't get up or move much. He lies still, his head sinking into the straw which rustles softly under him. The straw is lumpy, with little sticks that sometimes poke him, but he's used to it. He shifts a tiny bit to find a comfier spot, and the straw makes a quiet, crackly sound like dry leaves. The wool blanket is heavy and a little scratchy, but it keeps him warm, and he pulls it up to his chin. The smell of the straw in the blanket, grassy and smoky, makes him feel at home. It's a smell he knows well, and it helps him feel calm, like the hut is hugging him. The night is quiet, but it's full of small sounds that Edric loves. The wind hums outside, slipping through the straw roof, making a soft, whooshing noise like someone blowing gently. It's not loud or scary, it's gentle, like a whisper that says, "Everything's okay." The wooden beams of the hut creak now and then, a soft sound like a chair settling when you sit down. The creaks are slow and steady, like the hut is breathing with Edric, telling him it's safe to rest. The fire's embers pop quietly, a tiny crackle that's warm and cozy, like the fire is whispering good night. Mildred's breathing is one of the best sounds. She's right next to Edric, her shoulder touching his, her breath coming in soft, even puffs. It's like a little rhythm, in and out, like waves on a quiet pond. Edric listens to her breathing, and it makes his heart feel light. Knowing she's there so close makes the night feel safe. He matches his own breathing to her sometimes, taking slow, deep breaths that make his body feel heavy and relaxed. It's like Mildred's breathing is part of the night's lullaby, helping him drift back to sleep. Brownie, their shaggy dog, adds his own sound to the night. He's curled up at the foot of the bed, his warm fur brushing Edric's feet. Brownie snores, a low, rumbly noise that shakes his whole body. Sometimes the snores are loud, like a little growl, and sometimes they're soft, like a purr. Edric smiles in the dark when he hears Brownie snoring because it's such a funny, cozy sound. It's like Brownie is dreaming of chasing rabbits or eating a big bowl of pottage, and his snores are his way of telling the world about it. The sound mixes with the wind and the creaks, making the hut feel alive and warm. Clucky, the chicken who sometimes sneaks into the hut, clucks softly in her corner. Her feathers rustle as she shifts in her sleep, and every now and then she lets out a quiet cluck like she's talking in her dreams. The clucks are gentle, not loud like during the day when she's chasing bugs. They're like little whispers saying, "I'm here, I'm cozy." Edric doesn't mind Clucky being there. Her clucks are part of the night's song, blending with the wind, the creaks, and Brownie's snores. It's like the whole hut is singing together, a soft, sleepy tune that wraps around Edric. Outside, the village is quiet too. Sometimes Edric hears a goat bleat, maybe Nibbles, his naughty goat, muttering in her pen. The bleat is soft and lazy, like she's half asleep. Other times, a dog barks far away, maybe at a fox or just because it's excited. A cow might moo softly, settling down for the night. These sounds drift through the air, carried by the wind, and they make Edric feel like the village is resting with him. It's like the whole world is calm, taking a break in the middle of the night. The battlefield, which is close to the village, is silent tonight. During the day, it's loud with horns, shouting, and the clang of swords. But at night, especially during the midnight break, the noise fades away. Edric can't hear the soldiers or their horses, and that makes him feel safe. The silence is like a gift, letting him listen to the gentle sounds of the hut and the village. It's like the battlefield is sleeping too, giving everyone a chance to rest without fear. Edric lies still, his eyes open, staring into the dark. He doesn't feel rushed or worried. The midnight break is a time to just be, to listen and feel the night. He thinks about his day for a moment, digging in the field, chopping wood, carrying water. His body is tired, his arms heavy, his legs sore, but those thoughts don't keep him awake. They make him feel proud because he worked hard for his family. Now in the quiet dark, he can let those thoughts go, like leaves floating away on a stream. Sometimes, Edric thinks about little things during the midnight break. He might think about the barley growing in his field, how it's getting taller every day. He might think about Mildred's smile when he brought home a shiny stone from the field, or how Brownie tripped over his own paws chasing a butterfly. These thoughts are small and happy, like tiny stars in his mind. They don't make him feel busy or worried. They make him feel calm, like the night is holding him gently. The hut is warm, even though the air outside is cool. The straw bed is soft under Edric, even if it's lumpy. The blanket is heavy, keeping the cold away, and Mildred's warmth next to him feels like a hug. Brownie's furry body at his feet adds more warmth, and Clucky's quiet clucks in the corner make the hut feel full of life. Edric listens to all these sounds, the wind, the creaks, the fire, Mildred's breathing, Brownie's snores, Clucky's clucks, and they mix together like a soft song. It's a song that says, "Rest now, Edric, everything's okay." Edric doesn't try to stay awake. He doesn't need to do anything during the midnight break. Some people in the village might get up, check the fire, or talk quietly with their family. But Edric likes to stay in bed, lying still, letting the night wrap around him. His eyes are heavy and his body feels like it's sinking deeper into the straw. The sounds of the night are like a lullaby, rocking him gently, pulling him back to sleep. He doesn't fight it, he lets it happen, soft and easy, like a feather falling to the ground. The midnight break isn't long, maybe just a little while, but it feels special. It's a time when the world is quiet and Edric can just be. He doesn't have to dig or chop or carry anything. He doesn't have to worry about the battlefield or his crops. He can just listen to the night, feel the warmth of his family, and let his mind rest. The darkness is like a friend, soft and kind, holding him close until he's ready to sleep again. As Edric lies there, his breathing slows, matching Mildred's. The wind hums, the hut creaks, the fire pops, Brownie snores, and Clucky clucks. These sounds blend together like a song that's been sung forever. Edric's eyes close and his body feels light, like he's floating. The midnight break is over and sleep comes back, gentle and warm, carrying him away into dreams. The night is quiet, the hut is cozy, and Edric is safe, drifting off as softly as a feather falling. Edric lies on his lumpy straw bed, tucked under his scratchy wool blanket in the cozy corner of his small hut. Above the hut, the night sky stretches wide, full of stars that blink like tiny lanterns. Edric doesn't see them from inside, but he feels the big, quiet darkness outside, like it's wrapping him in a soft hug. The world slows down, the noises fade, and sleep comes gently, taking him into its warm embrace. Let's imagine this peaceful night with Edric, feeling the vast sky above and how it helps him drift off to sleep. The hut is small, made of wood and mud, with a straw roof that rustles softly in the wind. Inside, it's dark, except for the faint glow of the fire's embers, covered with ashes to keep them safe until morning. Edric's bed is just a pile of straw on the dirt floor, lumpy but soft enough to rest on. The wool blanket is heavy and a bit itchy, but it keeps him warm, smelling of smoke and earth. His wife, Mildred, is curled up beside him, her breathing slow and steady, like a quiet song. Their dog, Brownie, snoozes at their feet, his furry body warm and his snores rumbly. Sometimes, a chicken named Clucky clucks softly in a corner, adding to the cozy feeling of the hut. But outside, beyond the straw roof, the night sky is waiting, big and beautiful, full of stars. Edric doesn't see the sky from his bed, but he knows it's there. He's seen it many times before on clear nights when he steps outside to check the animals or fetch water. The sky is huge, stretching far and wide like a giant blanket covered with tiny twinkling lights. The stars blink and sparkle like little candles or fireflies floating high above. Some are bright, some are faint, but they all shine together, making the night feel special. Edric feels the sky's vastness even from inside the hut, like it's a big, quiet presence watching over the village. The night sky is different from the day. During the day, the sky is bright with the sun shining and clouds floating by. It's busy with birds flying and people working in the fields. But at night, the sky is calm and dark, like a soft hug that covers everything. The stars don't rush or make noise, they just shine steady and gentle like they're telling the world to rest. Edric feels this calmness even if he's inside. It's like the sky is whispering to him, saying, "Slow down, Edric, it's time to sleep." Edric's day was long and hard. He worked in his field, digging with his hoe, pulling weeds, and carrying water from the stream. He chopped wood for the fire and fixed a fence to keep Nibbles the goat from eating his crops. His arms are heavy, his back aches, and his eyes are droopy. The battlefield nearby was quiet today, but its distant hum still lingers in his mind. Now, as he lies in bed, the thought of the big sky outside makes those worries feel small. The sky is so vast, so quiet, that it seems to swallow up the noise and fear, leaving only peace. The darkness of the night is like a friend to Edric. It's not scary, it's soft and gentle, like a big, warm blanket. Inside the hut, the darkness wraps around him, mixing with the warmth of the blanket and Maldrith's body next to his. Outside, the sky's darkness is even bigger, stretching over the village, the fields, and the battlefield. It's like the sky is holding everything in its arms, keeping it safe. Edric feels this, even if he can't see the stars. It's a feeling that makes his heart calm and his body heavy, ready for sleep. The sounds of the night help Edric feel the sky's presence. The wind hums through the straw roof, a soft whooshing sound like the sky is breathing. The wooden beams of the hut creak gently like they're settling under the weight of the night. The fire's embers pop quietly, a warm, crackly sound that feels cozy. Maldrith's breathing is slow and steady like a gentle wave. Brownie's snores rumble at the foot of the bed, and Clucky's soft clucks come from the corner. These sounds mix together like a lullaby, and they make Edric think of the big sky outside, quiet and vast, watching over them all. Edric imagines the stars sometimes, even with his eyes closed. He's seen them on clear nights, sparkling like tiny lanterns hung in the sky. He knows they're up there now above the straw roof, shining down on the village. The stars feel like little friends, watching him sleep, keeping the night safe. They don't move or make noise, they just stay there steady and bright, like a promise that tomorrow will come. Edric likes that feeling. It makes the darkness feel kind, not scary, like a big hand holding him gently. The night sky is so big that it makes Edric's worries seem small. The battlefield, with its horns and swords, feels far away under the vast sky. The soldiers in their fighting can't reach the stars, and they can't reach Edric in his hut. The sky is like a shield, covering the village with its darkness, keeping the fear at bay. Edric thinks about this as he lies in bed, and it makes his heart feel light. His body is tired, but his mind is calm, and the thought of the sky helps him let go of the day. The darkness of the sky is different from the darkness inside the hut. Inside, the dark is warm, filled with the glow of the embers and the closeness of Maldrith and Brownie. Outside, the dark is cool and endless, stretching far beyond the village. But both kinds of darkness feel safe to Edric. They're like two parts of the same hug, one warm and close, one big and quiet. Together, they make him feel like he's part of something huge, something that's been there forever, like the sky itself. Edric's bed is lumpy, with straw that pokes him sometimes, but it's soft enough to sink into. The blanket is scratchy, but it's warm and it smells like home. Maldrith's breathing next to him is like a soft song, and Brownie's snores add a funny, rumbly beat. Clucky's clucks are quiet, like little whispers in the dark. These sounds make the hut feel cozy, but the thought of the sky outside makes it feel even bigger. It's like Edric is sleeping in two places at once, in his warm hut and under the vast, starry sky. The night slows everything down. During the day, Edric is busy, working in the field, chopping wood, and watching for danger from the battlefield. But at night, the world stops rushing. The village is quiet, the animals are sleeping, and the sky is still. Edric feels this slowness in his body, like his heart is beating softer, his breathing is slower. His eyes are heavy, and his arms, sore from work, feel like they're melting into the straw. The sky's vastness helps him let go, like it's telling him, "You don't need to do anything now, just rest." Edric doesn't need to see the stars to feel them. He knows they're there, blinking above the hut like tiny lights in a big dark sea. He imagines them sometimes, picturing their soft glow, their steady shine. It's like they're watching over him, over Maldrith, over Brownie and Clucky, over the whole village. The stars don't care about the battlefield or the soldiers. They just shine night after night, and that makes Edric feel safe. It's like the sky is a big, kind friend, always there, always watching. The darkness of the sky is deep, like a big pool of quiet. It's not a darkness that scares Edric, it's a darkness that holds him like a soft bed that goes on forever. He feels it pulling him, not in a hard way, but in a gentle way, like a mother rocking a baby. His body is tired from the day, his arms heavy, his legs sore, but the sky's embrace makes him feel light. It's like the darkness is saying, "Let go, Edric, let sleep come." And Edric listens, closing his eyes, letting the night take over. The sounds of the hut mix with the thought of the sky. The wind's hum is like the sky's voice, soft and steady. The creaks of the wooden beams are like the sky settling down, getting ready for rest. The fire's crackle is like the stars twinkling, each pop a tiny spark. Mildred's breathing, Brownie's snores, and Clucky's clucks are like the village joining the sky's song, all singing together in a quiet lullaby. Edric listens to these sounds, and they blend with the feeling of the vast sky above, making his heart calm and his body ready for sleep. Sometimes Edric wakes up during the night because that's how people slept back then, in two parts with a little break in between. When he wakes, he lies still, feeling the darkness around him. He doesn't see the stars, but he knows they're there, shining above the hut. He listens to the wind, the creaks, the fire, and his family's sounds. The thought of the sky makes him feel small but safe, like he's part of something much bigger. He doesn't worry or get up. He just lies there, letting the sky's vastness and the hut's coziness wrap around him, pulling him back to sleep. The night sky is like a big, quiet ocean, and Edric's hut is like a little boat floating on it. Inside the boat, he's warm and safe with Mildred, Brownie, and Clucky. Outside, the sky stretches far and wide, its stars blinking like tiny lights on the water. Edric feels both the warmth of the hut and the vastness of the sky, and it makes him feel whole. His body is tired, his eyes are heavy, and the sky's embrace is soft, leading him gently into dreams. As Edric lies there, his breathing slows, matching Mildred's. The wind hums, the hut creaks, the fire pops, Brownie snores, and Clucky clucks. The sky above is silent, but its presence is strong, like a big, kind hand holding the village. Edric's eyes close, and his body sinks deeper into the straw. Sleep comes soft and warm, like a wave carrying him away. The night sky watches over him, its stars blinking like lanterns, and Edric drifts off, safe in its vast, gentle embrace. Before bed, Edric sits by the fire in his small hut, spooning warm pottage from a wooden bowl. The pottage is made of barley, onions, and a pinch of herbs, simple but good. It fills his belly, making him feel warm from the inside, like a cozy hug. The steam rises from the bowl, tickling his face, and with each bite, his eyelids get heavy, like they're ready to close all by themselves. Let's sit with Edric and see how this simple meal helps him get ready for sleep, making his night feel calm and safe. Edric's hut is small, built from wood and mud, with a straw roof that rustles when the wind blows. The fire in the middle of the hut is low, glowing with embers that give off a soft, warm light. Edric sits on a wooden stool, his legs tired from a long day of working in the field. His wife Mildred sits across from him, stirring the pot of pottage over the fire. Their dog Brownie lies nearby, his shaggy fur warm from the fire's heat, snoring softly. Sometimes a chicken named Clucky is in the corner, clucking quietly as she settles for the night. The hut feels cozy, like a little world where Edric and his family can rest, even with the battlefield nearby. Pottage is the meal Edric eats almost every night. It's not fancy like the food we have today with pizzas or ice cream. It's just a thick soup made from things Edric grows in his field, barley, onions, and sometimes cabbages or carrots. Mildred adds a few herbs like parsley or thyme, which she picks from a small patch near the hut. The herbs give the pottage a nice smell, like fresh grass or flowers, and make it taste a little special. The pottage is warm and thick, sticking to the wooden spoon as Edric scoops it up. Each bite fills his belly, making him feel full and happy, like his body is saying, "Thank you." Edric holds his wooden bowl in both hands, feeling its warmth against his fingers. The bowl is old, carved from a piece of wood with little cracks from years of use. It's not pretty, but it's strong, and it holds the pottage just fine. The steam rises from the bowl, curling up like tiny clouds, and it feels nice on Edric's face like a warm breath. He blows on the pottage to cool it down, then takes a big spoonful, letting the warm, soft grains and vegetables fill his mouth. The taste is simple, earthy from the barley, sweet from the onions, and a little green from the herbs. It's not exciting, but it's good, and it makes Edric feel cozy. Maldrith eats her pottage, too, sitting across from Edric. She smiles as she takes a bite, her eyes soft in the fire's glow. Sometimes they talk about the day, how Edric fixed the fence, or how Nibbles the goat got loose again. Other times they just eat quietly, listening to the fire crackle and Brownie's snores. The quiet is nice, like a moment to rest before sleep. Edric likes these moments with Mildred, sharing their simple meal, feeling close and safe. It's like the pottage isn't just food, it's a way to share their day, their home, their love. The pottage is warm, and each bite makes Edric's body feel heavier, like it's sinking into the stool. His arms, sore from digging and chopping wood, relax a little. His eyes, tired from watching for danger in the field, start to droop. The steam from the bowl makes his face feel soft and warm, like he's wrapped in a cozy cloud. He takes another bite, chewing slowly, letting the warmth spread through his chest and belly. It's like the pottage is telling his body, "You worked hard today, now rest." Edric doesn't have a big table or fancy plates. He and Mildred eat from their wooden bowls, sitting on stools by the fire. The fire is the heart of the hut, keeping them warm and cooking their food. Mildred stirs the pottage with a wooden spoon, making sure it doesn't stick to the pot. The pot is made of clay, heavy and black from years of being over the fire. It's not much, but it's enough to make their meal, and Edric is grateful for it. He knows that without the pottage, his belly would be empty, and sleep would be harder to find. The barley in the pottage comes from Edric's field. He works hard to grow it, digging the soil, planting the seeds, and watering them with buckets from the stream. The onions come from his field too, their green tops poking out of the dirt. The herbs are Mildred's work. She tends a small patch by the hut, picking leaves to add to the pottage. Every bite Edric takes reminds him of his field, his work, and Mildred's care. It's like eating a little piece of their life, and that makes it taste even better. Sometimes the pottage is a little different. If Edric's field grows well, they might add carrots or cabbages, making the pottage thicker and sweeter. If the harvest is small, or if soldiers from the battlefield take some of their food, the pottage might be thinner with just barley and a few herbs. But Edric doesn't complain. Even a thin bowl of pottage is warm and filling, and it's enough to make his belly happy. He knows that some nights, other families in the village have even less, and he's thankful for what he has. The smell of the pottage fills the hut, mixing with the smoky scent of the fire and the earthy smell of the straw roof. It's a warm, cozy smell, like a hug you can breathe in. Edric takes a deep breath, letting the smell fill his nose, and it makes him feel calm. The battlefield outside, with its horns and shouts, feels far away when he's eating pottage. The hut is his safe place, and the pottage is part of that safety, like a warm light in the dark. Edric eats slowly, enjoying each bite. He doesn't rush because there's no hurry at night. The day's work is done digging, chopping, carrying, and now it's time to rest. The pottage helps him slow down, like a signal to his body that the day is over. His eyelids get heavier with each spoonful, like they're being pulled down by a gentle hand. His shoulders, sore from swinging the hoe, feel looser. His legs, tired from walking to the stream, feel like they're ready to melt into the floor. The pottage is like a friend, helping him get ready for sleep. Mildred finishes her bowl and sets it down, smiling at Edric. "Good pottage tonight," she says, her voice soft. Edric nods, his lopsided grin lighting up his face. "Best pottage in the village," he says, and they both laugh quietly. It's a little joke they share because pottage is what everyone eats, and it's always about the same. But to Edric, Mildred's pottage is special because she makes it with care and they eat it together. It's like a little piece of their love in every bite. When Edric finishes his pottage, he sets his bowl down by the fire. His belly is full and his body feels warm, like the fire has moved inside him. He yawns, a big, slow yawn that makes his eyes water. Mildred yawns too, and they laugh again because yawning is catchy. Brownie lifts his head, woken by their laughter, and then flops back down, snoring right away. Clucky clucks in her corner like she's saying, "Be quiet, I'm sleeping." The hut feels full of warmth and love, like it's the coziest place in the world. Edric stands up, his legs a little wobbly from sitting so long. He stretches his arms, feeling the ache from the day's work. The pottage has made him sleepy, and his eyes are so heavy he can barely keep them open. He walks to the fire, helping Mildred pile ashes over the embers to keep them safe for the night. The fire crackles softly, like it's saying goodnight, and the hut gets a little darker. Edric checks the door, making sure it's closed tight so Nibbles the goat doesn't sneak in. Then he walks to the straw bed in the corner, ready to lie down. The bed is just a pile of straw, lumpy but soft, with a wool blanket that's warm but scratchy. Edric doesn't mind the lumps or the itch. After eating his pottage, his body is ready to sink into the straw like it's the softest bed in the world. He lies down, pulling the blanket up to his chin, and feels Mildred settle in beside him. Her warmth is like a second blanket, making the bed feel even cozier. Brownie curls up at their feet, his snores starting again, and Clucky clucks softly in her corner. The pottage in Edric's belly feels like a warm glow, helping him relax, making his eyelids heavier with every breath. The pottage isn't just food, it's part of Edric's night. It's what he eats to end the day, to say goodbye to the work and the worries. The battlefield outside, with its soldiers and noise, feels far away when Edric is full of pottage. The hut is his safe place, and the pottage is like a key that unlocks the door to sleep. Each bite makes him feel calmer, warmer, sleepier. It's like the pottage is whispering, "You did enough today, Edric, now rest." As Edric lies in bed, he thinks about the pottage for a moment. He thinks about the barley he grew, the onions he planted, the herbs Mildred picked. He thinks about how they worked together to make the meal, how they sat together to eat it. It's a simple thing, but it's special because it's theirs. The pottage fills his belly, but it also fills his heart, reminding him of his home, his family, his life. With each thought, his eyes get heavier and his body sinks deeper into the straw. The hut is quiet now, except for the soft sounds of the night. The wind hums through the straw roof like a gentle song. The fire's embers pop like tiny whispers. Mildred's breathing is slow and steady like a calm wave. Brownie's snores rumble, and Clucky's clucks are soft in the corner. These sounds mix with the memory of the pottage's warmth, making Edric feel safe and cozy. His eyelids are so heavy now, like they're made of stone, and his body feels soft, like it's melting into the bed. Edric doesn't fight the sleepiness. He lets it come like a friend who's always welcome. The pottage has done its job, filling his belly, warming his body, calming his mind. The battlefield is far away, the day's work is done, and the night is here, soft and kind. Edric closes his eyes, feeling the vast sky above, the stars blinking like lanterns, and he drifts off to sleep, warm and full, wrapped in the cozy hug of his simple meal and his loving home. Mildred kneels by the fire in the middle of their small hut, carefully piling ashes over the glowing embers. The fire's warm light slowly fades, and the hut grows dim, like a signal that it's time to rest. The last flicker of light dances on the walls like a quiet good-night wave from the flames. Edric watches from his lumpy straw bed, feeling sleepy and cozy as the hut settles into the night. Let's sit with Edric and Mildred in this peaceful moment, watching the fire's final flicker and feeling the calm it brings to their home. The hut is small, made of wood and mud, with a straw roof that rustles softly when the wind blows. It's not a fancy house, but it's warm and full of love. The floor is dirt, packed hard from years of footsteps, and sometimes it gets a little muddy when rain sneaks through the roof. In one corner, Edric and Mildred's bed sits, a pile of straw covered with a scratchy wool blanket. Their dog Brownie is curled up at the foot of the bed, snoring softly, his shaggy fur warm against their feet. A chicken named Clucky sometimes sleeps in another corner, clucking quietly in her dreams. The fire in the center of the hut is the heart of their home, giving light, warmth, and a place to cook their pottage. But now, as night settles in, it's time for the fire to rest, too. Mildred is gentle as she works with the fire. She's Edric's wife, with kind eyes and strong hands from stirring pottage and weaving baskets. Her hair is tied back with a cloth, and her tunic is simple, patched where it's worn thin. She uses a wooden stick to move the ashes, scooping them from the edges of the fire pit and piling them carefully over the embers. The embers are small, glowing bits of wood that are still hot, like tiny stars in the ashes. By covering them, Mildred keeps them safe, so they'll stay warm until morning when she'll wake them up to start a new fire. It's a job she does every night, and Edric loves watching her because it feels like she's tucking the hut in for sleep. The fire's glow starts to fade as the ashes pile up. At first, the flames are bright, lighting up the hut with a warm, orange light. They dance and flicker, making shadows move on the walls like little stories playing out. But as Mildred adds more ashes, the flames get smaller and the light gets softer. The embers glow red and gold under the gray ashes like hidden treasures. The hut grows dimmer, and the shadows on the walls become faint, like they're fading into the dark. The last flicker of light is tiny, just a spark that jumps up for a moment before settling back down like a quiet good night from the fire. Edric lies on his straw bed, watching the fire's light fade. His body is tired from a long day of work, digging in the field, chopping wood, and carrying water from the stream. His arms feel heavy, and his eyes are droopy, like they're ready to close all by themselves. The pottage he ate earlier, a warm soup of barley and onions, sits cozy in his belly, making him feel full and calm. The fatting fire is like a signal to his body, saying, "The day is over, Edric, it's time to rest." He pulls the wool blanket up to his chin, feeling its scratchy warmth, and listens to the quiet sounds of the hut. Maldrith finishes piling the ashes and sets the stick down. She brushes her hands on her tunic, leaving a little smudge of ash, and smiles at Edric. "Fire's safe now," she says softly, her voice like a warm hug. Edric nods, his lopsided grin lighting up his face even in the dim hut. "Good job, Mildrith," he says, and they both laugh quietly, because it's a little thing they say every night, like a special bedtime promise. Mildrith walks to the bed, her footsteps soft on the dirt floor, and slips in beside Edric. Her warmth next to him feels like a second blanket, making the bed even cozier. The hut is almost dark now, with just a tiny glow from the covered embers. The fire's final flicker is gone, and the walls are still, no more dancing shadows. The darkness is soft, not scary, like a big warm blanket wrapping around the hut. Edric loves this moment, when the hut feels quiet and safe, like it's ready to sleep with him. The battlefield outside, with its horns and shouts, is far away tonight, its noises faded to nothing. The silence lets Edric hear the little sounds of the hut, like a gentle lullaby that helps him drift off. The sounds in the hut are soft and cozy. The wind hums through the straw roof, a low, whooshing sound, like someone singing quietly. The wooden beams creak now and then, like the hut is settling down for the night. Maldrith's breathing is slow and steady beside Edric, like a calm wave going in and out. Brownie's snores rumble at the foot of the bed, a funny, rumbly sound that makes Edric smile. Clucky clucks softly in her corner, like she's talking in her sleep. These sounds mix together like a quiet song that says, "Everything's okay, time to rest." The fire's embers, hidden under the ashes, still give off a little warmth. Edric can't see them, but he feels the faint heat in the air like a gentle touch. The warmth mixes with the cool night air that sneaks through the cracks in the walls, making the hut feel just right, not too hot, not too cold. The straw bed is lumpy, with little sticks that poke sometimes, but Edric doesn't mind. He shifts a bit, finding a soft spot, and the straw rustles under him like dry leaves. The blanket is heavy, keeping him warm, and Mildrith's body next to his adds more warmth, like a cozy hug. Edric's eyes are heavy now, like they're made of stone. The fatting fire has done its job, telling him the day is done. His body is tired from working in the field, his arms sore from swinging the hoe, his legs achy from walking to the stream. The pottage in his belly feels like a warm glow, and the dim hut feels like a safe cave, protecting him from the world. The battlefield, with its soldiers and danger, can't reach him here. The hut is his home, and the fire's final flicker is like a door closing, shutting out the worries of the day. Maldrith's breathing next to him is like a soft song, steady and calm. Edric listens to it, letting his own breathing slow down to match hers. Brownie's snores add a funny beat to the song, and Clucky's clucks are like little notes sprinkled in. The wind's hum and the hut's creaks make the song complete, wrapping around Edric like a lullaby. He feels his body sink deeper into the straw, the lumps not bothering him at all. The blanket is warm, the hut is safe, and the night is kind, ready to carry him to sleep. The fire's final flicker is a special moment every night. It's like the hut is saying goodnight, telling Edric and Mildrith that it's time to rest. The fatting light makes the hut feel smaller, cozier, like a little world just for them. Edric loves how the darkness takes over, soft and gentle, like a big hug from the night. His eyes close and he feels the vast sky outside, full of stars he can't see but knows are there, blinking like tiny lanterns. The sky is big, but the hut is warm, and together they make Edric feel safe and small, like a child tucked into bed. Sometimes, Edric wakes up later in the night because people back then slept in two parts with a little break in between. When he wakes, the hut is still dark, the embers still hidden under the ashes. He lies still, listening to the same soft sounds, the wind, the creaks, Mildrith's breathing, Brownie's snores, Clucky's clucks. The memory of the fire's final flicker stays with him like a warm thought that says, "You're safe, go back to sleep." He doesn't worry or get up. He just lets the night pull him back, gentle and soft, like a feather falling to the ground. The fire's embers are like a promise, Edric thinks. They're small and hidden now, but they'll be there in the morning ready to start a new fire. Just like Edric's work, digging, planting, chopping is hard but keeps going, the fire keeps going too. The ashes protect the embers, keeping them safe, just like the hut protects Edric and his family. The thought makes him smile in the dark, his lopsided grin hidden under the blanket. He feels proud of his home, his fire, his life, even if it's simple. The hut is quiet now, the fire's light gone. The darkness is deep, but it's not scary, it's warm and kind, like a friend. Edric feels Mildred's warmth beside him, Brownie's fur at his feet, and the faint heat from the covered embers. The pottage in his belly is still warm, like a glow inside him, and his body is ready to rest. The battlefield outside is silent, its noises faded away, letting the hut's gentle sounds take over. Edric listens to the lullaby of the night, feeling the sky above, vast and starry, watching over the village. As Edric lies there, his breathing slows and his eyes close. The wind hums, the hut creaks, the fire's embers are silent but warm, Mildred breathes, Brownie snores, and Clucky clucks. These sounds blend together like a soft song that rocks Edric into sleep. His body is tired, his heart is full, and the fire's final flicker has done its job, signaling the end of the day. The night takes over gentle and calm, carrying Edric into dreams, safe in his cozy hut under the big, starry sky. Edric sits by the fire in his small hut, finishing his bowl of warm pottage. The day has been long, with work in the field, chopping wood and carrying water. Now as night falls, he's ready to rest. Before he climbs into his lumpy straw bed, Edric does a few small things, like little habits he repeats every night. He folds his cloak neatly, checks the door latch to make sure it's tight, and whispers a soft word to his wife, Mildred. These small acts are like a quiet promise that tomorrow will come, and they make Edric feel safe and ready for sleep. Let's follow Edric through these bedtime rituals and see how they bring calm to his night, even with the battlefield nearby. The hut is small, made of wood and mud, with a straw roof that rustles when the wind blows. It's not a big or fancy house, but it's cozy, filled with the warmth of the fire and the love of Edric's family. The floor is dirt, hard from years of footsteps, and sometimes a little muddy when rain sneaks in. In one corner is the straw bed, covered with a scratchy wool blanket that keeps Edric and Mildred warm. Their dog, Brownie, is already curled up at the foot of the bed, snoring softly, his shaggy fur warm against the straw. A chicken named Clucky sometimes sleeps in another corner, clucking quietly in her dreams. The fire in the center of the hut glows low,